He's riding down the high weirdness road, chasing every story nobody's told. Muppets in the backseat, vampires in tow. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. Cold case counties and abandoned towns. Something in the shadows keeps swirling round. CIA bot shouting, "Who killed Bill Cosby?" JJ just laughs and cranks the sound. Where the timeline's bend and the truth gets loud, and the moon looks wrong behind a wandering cloud. If the vampires strike, well, that's just how it goes. He's riding down the high weirdness road, where impossible things are the stories he's old. From hidden hollers on a foggy night to the America's wasteland, heartland. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. He's rolling down the high weirdness road, chasing every phantom the archives hold. Truth gets strange, but he won't let go. J.J. Vance on the high weirdness road. Yeah, J.J. Vance on the high weirdness
This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Don't catch you slipping now. Look what I'm whipping now. This is America. Don't catch you slipping now. Look how I'm living now. Police be tripping now. Yeah, this is America. Guns in my area. I got the strap. I gotta carry him. Yeah, I'ma go into this. Yeah, this is gorilla. Yeah, I'ma go get the bag. Yeah, or I'ma get the pad. Yeah, I'm so cold like, yeah. I'm so dull like, yeah. We gon' blow like, yeah.
Howdy, folks. Your host, Double J, back here, coming at you live from my studio / home on the range, located, deep inside America. Welcome back, folks, to the interwebs. Once again, your host of Operation GCD, JJ Vance here, and absolutely, most notably in this day and age, not the vice president. And then again, if you got a vampire, give me a call. Anyhow, I will be your pilot and navigator, folks, of the interwebs. Thanks again for joining me here tonight to get a little GCD. Be your pilot and navigator for tonight's shenanigan-infused journey into the mind of this particular garbage can, dude. And it's the perfect use of AI. And I'm not going to lie to you, folks. Got a real barn burner here on deck for y'all tonight. An occult and or esoteric review of the 2007 cinematic shit show, Next. What a fantastic way, or horrible way, however you look at it, to ruin a Philip K. Dick short story. Anyhow, I won't belabor the points any longer. Got a fun-filled lineup here tonight. Joining me here to discuss this film, Phil's the special agent of the Dewey Decimal System. Welcome back to Operation GCD, sir, for your first time.
Howdy. Good to be here.
Any now you said you just watched this film. Was that for your first time? Did you see this for your first time recently?
It was first time. Yep, first time.
Yeah, same here. Same here. What was your general opinion of the film?
You know, I've spent worse 90 minutes. You know, I didn't think it was bad. You know, like, I mean, is it is not Leaving Las Vegas. It is not Honeymoon in Vegas, but it's not the worst of Nick Cage movies. So, you know,
well, thankfully he's done a lot worse films. You're right.
It's funny enough because Face Off was on that same day, but you know, I don't think it was that bad. I would say like 6 out of 10.
Okay, well, you were far more generous than myself, sir. But fair enough. I'm not a big fan of of science fiction, but Philip K. Dick, as far as science fiction goes, about as far as I go. But I'm a big fan of his work, and this was almost remotely. You could have just entitled this film something else.
Yeah, it was very loosely. I mean, from what I've kind of just reading, like a general thing, it's like they kept a name or two, but like, you know, most of it they just went. They mined his work and took like certain parts, and then, you know, went the other way.
That's what I'm saying. It's barely even based on it that rate, but you know, that's Hollywood for you. 2007 was a bit of an early DEI kind of communist stuff. And speaking of communists, not this guy, but you know, he likes to talk about communists. How you doing, sir? Clint Eastwood, Third World Assassin. Welcome back to Operation GCD for your first time, sir.
Oh yeah, that's funny because I was just researching the Kama River truck factory in Russia last night.
I knew you would be. I knew it's something communist related, and I can respect you for that, sir. Fucking commie bastards. But this one had a lot of DEI kind of nonsense early onset of Hollywood, I thought, and I don't know. We can get into that soon. I just seen it for the first time as well. When did you first see it?
I seen it when it came out.
How dare you? You think you're better than me?
Well, I just watched whatever. You know?
Dude, if I'd gone to the theater of this, seen this, I'd have walked out because I already got my Freddy got fingered moment in the film. The only movie I've ever walked out on at the theaters was Freddy Got Fingered. It's that big because that movie's just that god awful, dude.
Tom Green's fucked up.
I would never have survived this film in the theater. It just wouldn't have happened. I would have Freddy Got Fingered it.
I've never walked out on a movie. Not yet, at least.
No, okay. No. I reserve the right to walk out of any film, sir, if it's garbage.
Chapter and verse, my mother can still tell me the movie she walked out on.
There you go. Your mother knows when to respect the proper time to walk out of some garbage film.
Well, one was in the 90s. There was one that was actually in the 90s she walked out on with my dad that I was kind of surprised.
Was it V.I. Warshawski starring Kathleen
Turner? No, Hudson Hawk. Bruce Willis.
What an awful movie. Oh, Hudson Hawk, yeah. I love awful movies for like the comedic parody, satire reasons, and that one's up there because it's terrible as a film.
Well, one of the other ones was the one that was based off Jay Sebring's life, Shampoo, with Warren Beatty.
Oh, yes. It's a film put together by none other than Cocaine Bob Evans.
Yep. And Robert Town worked on that too.
What's that, sir?
Robert Town worked on that. On the screenplay.
There you go. That's Bob's right-hand man as far as writing, right? Like he's what was I was looking for a word there. He's Bob's go-to guy. There we go. I found it. I'm a bison rancher now, sir. It's been a long day. I do apologize. It started off my day at -5 degrees. We're up to -1 here by the end of the day. So, speaking of barn burners, how you doing there, Troublemaker Jonah? Welcome back to Operation GCD for your first time, sir.
Oh, I'm struggling with the internet today. We're in a major fucking storm, but I'm on the phone and I'll try to tough it out until fucking something happens.
Coming in loud and clear. Go ahead.
Although I will say that this movie was significantly better than that loosely based on, not at all based on, the Cotton Club book that we did last week.
How dare you, sir? How dare you?
How dare you, sir? Movie's dog shit.
Were they trying to copy that Harlem Nights movie with that Cotton Club kind of, or is that?
That was a Bob Cocaine Evans fantasy for many years preceding that. He was trying to get his resurgence back after his cocaine distribution charges, which, by the way, caused him to give the reins to Paramount. That drug distribution charge caused him to give the reins to Paramount and to his underling Barry Diller, famous for Barry Diller's All Boy Thanksgiving on an island somewhere in the South Pacific. He's famous for other things too. He's in the Epstein files. But anyhow, we're here talking about 2007 shitty film that y'all like and I hate. And
I did not say I liked
Todd the
it.
Wizard. When we're talking about wizard stuff, this film's full of all sorts of
Well,
wizard
fuck
stuff.
Todd.
Good evening,
Welcome back to Operation
gentlemen.
GCD for your first time, sir.
Well, fuck Todd.
Good evening. I am so glad to see you back doing movie reviews. We learned so much from you, JJ. Love this show.
Oh,
Phil,
same
it's
here.
good
I
to
enjoy
see you,
sharing
buddy.
Good to see you too, Todd.
I'm glad to hear
Careful,
your
he's a
super
secret
brains on here.
decimal system, sir.
Glad to see your super brain on here, pouring this thing full of facts. Always good to see Clint. You know, we share that dislove for communists with Clint. Clint's over there.
There you go. Another commie
And,
hating bastard. I like your style, sir.
Yep, and Jonah the troublemaker. Glad to see you. You're gonna make some trouble tonight. What you gonna do?
I think that's a standard. I think his mode of operations is always making trouble. Occasionally, he stops making trouble.
All right.
You know, as a Canadian,
yeah.
I can respect all these things. Usually, I can't
On
respect
that
too many Canadians.
On the movie, I'd give it a 6 or 7. Like Phil said, I was pleasantly
How dare you,
surprised first
sir.
time I'd seen it. No doubt.
I'm glad
First
that
time
I'm
I'd seen
adding
it, I'm like, wow,
to
okay.
but basically quadruple the number of people that have seen this film. Then apparently with just this film review.
It just earned its million that it lost. You know, that film I read.
Oh, it took a bath, dude. It took a bath.
It cost $77 million to produce, and it made or 78 million, but it only made 77 million. So,
You see, JJ, I already booked you.
Creative.
I already booked. We need to do the producers.
Oh yeah, this month all month long, sir, is Nick Cage. We're celebrating Nick Cage's mediocre film career. So
I know.
we'll
I
definitely
know.
get producers, though.
I already gave you a date. I already gave you a date suggestion.
I think you did. I have to get back to you on that. I'll have some of my Muppets or my Bison get back to you on that one, sir.
Nick Cage is in 2 of my favorite movies. I have many favorites, but Wild at Heart and Raising Arizona. I love Nicolas Cage in those.
Coen Brothers, Raising Arizona. Excellent film.
That was the first place in the theater. Very rarely do you see, or Wild at Heart, but very rarely do you see a whole theater of people laughing. And Raising Arizona in the theater, everybody's laughing their asses off at that movie.
That's what made
Crispin
you move to
Glover's
Arizona?
in Wild at Heart, huh? That's an oddity right there.
Oh
That's
yeah,
after
Crispin Glover plays a true freak.
trying to kick Dave Letterman in the head, right? With the moon boots. Remember that incident?
I remember that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he was in
deserved it.
Letterman, dude. He's like trying to exercise, throw out some karate skills, and he almost kicked Letterman in the head.
Yeah, there you go. Probably deserved it. Wish he would have. And not that I got anything against Letterman, but Crispin Glover is one of those that's always played the weirdest dude in the movie, even hired for his just weirdness. And he was in that Smiley Face Killers, that stupid, horrible movie, Smiley Face Killers.
You beat me to it. You beat me to it. By Brett Easton Ellis, dude. That's a creepy motherfucker as well.
Oh God.
So, Crispin Glover also famously quit the Back to the Future franchise, and then later sued Zemeckis and Spielberg for superimposing his face on someone else's face. Not to get into a Nick Cage face-off situation here, but he really quit over some kid diddling stuff he'd seen on the stage or on the set there.
Oh.
Crispin Glover seen some stuff.
Yeah, him and Marty McFly's girlfriend from the first film, they both quit and got replaced.
What'd they see?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Dude, he wrote like a
What'd they see?
37-page
Steven
manifesto,
Spielberg.
right? Go ahead.
What did they see?
Well, I mean, I'll put a
Steven
link in the
Spielberg.
show notes. Manifesto. Jonas got the details, perhaps.
Okay, yeah, I hadn't heard that.
Yeah, I heard there was a different actor originally.
Yeah, he's the body double because they think about the technology back then. The superimpose. You can watch number 2 and number 3. It looks like Crispin Glover. That ain't Crispin Glover.
Yeah, him. That was the most normal character Crispin Glover played in his whole career, I think. That was the most normal one. Nick
Come
Fly.
on, dude. That film where he had a whole team of rats. Come on now.
One other one.
That was the only movie.
I was going to say there was another one. the year before, Friday the 13th, the final chapter, which also had Corey Feldman.
Yeah.
Oh
The
man,
Feldster.
Crispin Glover is one of the victims.
I dropped out of those.
Oh man, he's
After a
so
certain number.
so goofy as shit in that movie, and like,
Okay.
at one point he dances, and it's pretty bad. Like you had
Yeah.
like that whole movie, besides having Corey Feldman and weirdness on the set, because I think there was someone making obscene phone calls to like the heroine of the movie, who's Corey Feldman's sister, which stopped after
Wow.
the
That's
movie
every,
was over.
sir, that's every Hollywood set.
You
It's
had
got to be.
one of the other guys who was in it was in The Last American Virgin, which was like one of those key 80s movies or whatnot. But yeah, Crispin Glover was in it, and he's like, just like I said, goofy as shit. You have the guy who played, who was in a bunch of the Police Academy movies was in it. I mean, it was like, I think them trying to put like as much of the guy and girls who were in that other movies in that movie. But yeah, no, Crispin Glover was.
Which number was it? Friday the 13th. Which one?
4, the final chapter.
4. Okay.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
might
never
have
got
saw
into
that.
these
I'll have to watch
films.
it again.
Total BS, but yeah.
Oh, I'm sure that was horrible.
I mean,
But I'll
It's
go
got
check
Corey
it out.
Feldman in it. It's got to be fantastic, right?
it was the first one I saw of the Friday the 13th movies. It's not bad, but it also has one of the cheesiest death scenes of all time, and you don't even like, you only hear it, not so much see it. And the guy who was in that scene actually just passed, I think, a year or so ago, because he's literally like screaming, "They're killing me! They're killing me!" You know, like Jason's killing him, and he's supposed to be the guy who's going to try to stop Jason. And I'm like, yeah, that's shit. But as a kid, it seemed pretty cool, you know. But Corey Feldman was a nightmare on that set too.
There was one scene I remember. Looking back at the movies, that the whole audience went, "This is ridiculous," and they laughed when they weren't supposed to. And it was the first Saw, where at the end of the movie, the guy says, "I'm going to cut my leg off and I'll go get help." And everybody's like, the whole fucking audience just broke out laughing because it was ridiculous. You couldn't buy it past that point because you're not going to hacksaw your leg off and then, "I'll be back. I'll see you in a little while."
I remember laughing at this film when it came out, and I also recall folks walking out of this film in tears while I'm laughing at the film. Like, y'all remember the psychological operation known as the Blair Witch Project?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that could have been a huge money laundering
I
project.
mean, I know it. Never watched it. I
I've seen
couldn't
it in
take
the
it.
movie theater on Two Hits Acid.
Oh,
There
no.
you go. I like your style, sir.
Wow.
Yeah, I saw it when it first came out, and I went back and saw it a few more times, but folks were crying when they left there. I was like, what is going on in life? But if you recall, they really hyped this up as being real. They even had a website back when there wasn't really websites for anything, right? Like, not everyone had a website back then, and they had a website reporting this to be real. So I feel like this was a one big psychological operation.
Well, they told the 3 actors to basically stay out of sight for a certain amount of time, and then meanwhile they kind of got screwed. They got screwed on the profits because I think they got $1 million at the time, or like after a while. But in terms of where the franchise went to, I think they kind of got screwed over. And then, of course, they did that shitty. They did a sequel, which was like Book of Shadows or something.
Yeah, that was terrible.
That was The only good thing about it, I mean, in terms of anyone who came out of it, was Jeffrey Donovan, who wound up having a career after that with Burn Notice and a bunch of other stuff. But I said,
I love Jeffrey Donovan.
Yeah, he's good. He shouldn't have been in that movie, but you know, hey, people need work.
That's like Halloween 3 is to the Halloween like sequels, right? It has like almost nothing to do with the first one.
Yeah. Pretty much, and now that movie has kind of been reevaluated in terms of people. I mean, because I used to think that movie was shit, but it's actually pretty good.
No, part three was the best one of those Halloweens.
It was probably
it had nothing to do with Michael Myers.
It's what
had
John
nothing to do
Carpenter
with Michael Myers.
John Carpenter did not want to do part 2. Part 2, he was contractually obligated. I think he said he wrote it with like a case of beer, and that's kind of how he went with it. He didn't want to go with that whole Michael Myers, sort of legacy, and you know, that's, you know, once again, someone has a podcast. I think it's called "How Does This Shit Get Made?" sort of thing, and that's one of those things. It's like, that's sort of context.
Well, that's a great question to ask tonight's film, but I think we know how tonight's film got made because Nick Cage was the executive producer.
Oh, poor Nicolas Cage.
Was that before or after the IRS problem? That's all I want to ask.
I think this was kind of like at the early onset of it. So one of the things I think is hilarious in here is when the IRS problem you had, and why I think you can see some of the work of the mind of you're getting inside the brain hole of Nicolas Cage, if you will, because early on in the film they murked the casino security director. And he owed a lot of money to casinos at that time because apparently he's got now he claims today he never had a gambling habit, right? But he's like, oh, his story about his gambling time now is quite hilarious because he's like, oh no, I've only ever played blackjack or something once, and I won $20,000 and I donated all to charity. Like, get the fuck out of here, dude.
Yeah,
that's not even believable.
Hollywood. That's Hollywood, though.
Corvette.
Nicolas Cage says he once won $20,000 at a casino, donated to an orphanage, never gambled again. Get out of here, Nicolas Cage.
He used it a tax write-off.
True hero.
Well, I just think you see, like he had money at the casinos and shit. He's like, oh, I'm going to kill the director of security off in this film because there's no other reason. That scene was so pointless.
Yeah, it was. I mean, I agree. Well, first of all, were these Russian? I mean, the accents were not Russian.
They imply they're Russian, right? Like there's a heavy implication it's Russian.
They're about as Russian
missiles, right?
As Sean Connery in The Hunt for Red October was Russian. Like that.
Some
was
of them
just
were French though too.
Yeah,
they were
it's not
French.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They had
it's like, holy shit.
Shirt on. It was like,
they look more like a DEI team. They look more like a DEI team to me. Had a representation of everything, women and
for sure.
Guys from this country, guys from that country. They look like the United Nations if they got together and had a little CIA co-op or operation going or something.
That's what I was thinking about, a little DEI bit of this film. You also see Julianne Moore as the FBI agent, and she's apparently a sharpshooter. I find that very hard to believe.
God, she shoots, she sings.
Not one of her better roles. That's for sure.
I didn't think it was good at all for her.
Yeah, I mean,
she's trying to be tough the entire film. She isn't very.
Yeah, agreed. No, I agree with you. Like, yeah, she's a good actress. I mean, she's had some good roles, and she's also had some roles where it's like, the hell are you playing right now? Like,
right.
That's she's been around since like the early 90s. She was in The Fugitive. She, Shortcuts, like so many movies.
She was in The Fugitive. I think that was her first role. She played a doctor, didn't she? She found the one-armed man. She was looking for Richard Kimball.
Yeah.
I mean, I remember seeing a movie with her the year before, Freedom Land, where it was kind of like, that was a movie I almost walked out of because I was with me and my wife.
Did you?
It was about the story of an abducted child, and Samuel L. Jackson's a cop, and Julianne Moore's the mother, and then later on it kind of has an ending where you're like, oh shit, she blamed it on a black guy, sort of situation. You had sort of a Susan Smith sort of situation going on. And I mean, I heard it was based off
a parallel to that case. That was kind of around the same time.
I think so. I think the book probably was better, but the movie, I was kind of like, like it's a movie later on where you're like, did I just waste 2 hours of my life?
Well,
yeah, I think it did.
I made it 17 minutes into tonight's film, and I was like, oh, don't do it to me. I'm about to get Frank got fingered in here. 27 minutes now. 17 minutes in is when they brought in the Russian nuclear thermal 37 kiloton thermal warhead that was going to blow up Los Angeles.
Well, there was
no need for. There was really no need for. They didn't have to bring that thing.
24 was in peak popularity, so I wouldn't be surprised they were trying to jump in on that shit, do a little Jack Bauer action.
Yeah, horrible.
Which, by the way,
I'm
still convinced.
Oh, sorry. There was a scene where it was okay. So it was very similar to the X-Men comic book where Professor X gets into some kind of chair and it amplifies his psychic ability.
Yeah,
they put him in the room and they had his eyes open and he's like, get me out of here.
That's one of the few things from the book.
Well, there was some.
The book is basically about a bunch of X-Men. They're folks of another planet in a post-apocalyptic world where everyone has mutant powers, and then the government tries to grab this dude named Chris, who he can see the future for a few minutes in his own future.
Yeah. Well, in the I don't remember what patent it was, but it was a patent for
general patent
amplifying of. It was similar to what the movie.
Patton Oswalt.
a patent a patent that
A patent on those glasses and weird things that keep your eyeballs open.
It amplified the psychic ability. Some kind of patent, and it was bizarre.
Like
oh, well,
an ESP amplifier.
Yeah, like you put on.
That's exactly what it was, right? It was. They even got into quantum physical elements in the film. I thought too. I
like that part. I like that part because as a magician, I love talking quantum physics because that's all quantum physics does is describe magic.
That's what I was going to get to with you, sir. I'm glad. Are you in my brain hole, Todd?
I think so. Yeah.
That's how I view these terms of magic is simply just elements of quantum physics that we don't fully understand.
Yeah. And I love, the movie starts out, if I may say real quick, with him saying, I'm a magician, and sometimes you run into some of these magicians, and they're the real deal. Where he means that sometimes you run into some of these card counters or mentats that brains are so smart they can calculate how many times cards went down. So there's lots of real examples of these types of people that develop these abilities. That would be God. Who? Chris Angel. I don't know.
That's what I was going to say, dude. Because is that why they made this dude a Vegas magician? Because of Chris Angel, and the character's name in this short story was Chris, C-R-I-S.
Yeah, exactly. Your mind's already thinking magician, when he comes around. But they put a spin. I love that because the Philip K. Dick story was a great story, short story, The Golden Man. And I love the idea that he's able to get around every time they try to stop him. He can twist sideways, go around the bend, duck down. That was an incredible concept. Philip K. Dick was super paranoid and wrote tons of stories about the government tracking him and or the antagonist to the movie. So I love that. I thought it was pretty great story by Philip K. Dick.
I like the idea of it more than I like the execution. Like it got really choppy and real just interrupted the flow of the film the way they showed that his ability, these different scenarios he was seeing and stuff. And a couple times, 27 minutes, that's where I threw him to the Freddy Got Fingered towel, sir. Because that was the point in time in the cafe where they got me. I was like, oh, shit, this is real life. Oh, no, this is one of his fucking visions. And I was like, you guys can go fuck yourself. It's going to 1.5 speed.
Yeah, they took a lot of liberty with all that.
This is what I mean by my Freddy Got Fingered moment. I got up from the theater. This is about 20 minutes in the film. I got up from the theater and I just said, fuck these clowns. I'm not watching the rest of this film. I've never seen anything further in that film since.
I've never seen that movie.
I think I've seen it, but forgot all about it. My brain wants to forget.
Well, just to throw in terms of the movie itself. So there's 3 people credited with the screenwrite. So that there was a clusterfuck in this in some form.
Oh,
when you have 3 screenwriters, the only way 3 or more screenwriters works is when it's the Simpsons movie. And everybody's shipping in ideas. And by the way, I mean, that, for the record, if you ever want to do a deep dive in something, The Simpsons, especially with the fact that there might be a writer or 2 who doesn't actually exist. But
that's interesting.
There's one who they don't believe exists. One of the most prolific writers of the show they think is not real. But
I've always been fascinated by the voice of Bart Simpson. She's one of the biggest donors of Xenu every year. She's a Scientologist.
Scientologist, Nancy Cartwright.
Yeah, she spends a lot of money. She's one of their biggest donors every year too, apparently.
Well, there's the mix of people, like the writers. There's Saturday Night Live, Harvard Lampoon, Conan O'Brien, Greg Daniels, all these people who've been connected with that show, who've gone on to other things. Groening's connection he flew on the Lolita Express. I mean, there's so many.
You know, Phil, when I think about Groening, when I think about The Simpsons, you know what always plays out in my mind? Back in the 90s, there were free publications everywhere around Salt Lake City that you could pick up if you went to any restaurant or were coming out of any location. You know, like these free publications put out by probably leftists, you would consider them at the time, the Democrats. They didn't call themselves Democrats.
Bastards, right again.
Yeah. So you pick up the magazine. In my town, it was City Weekly, published by local publishers, you know. But they always had the Simpson cartoon. It didn't start out Simpsons, it was something else. But that's where Matt Groening first showed up, was in these kind of low level, below the surface publications, not newspapers. And I remember watching or reading his comics about the Simpsons for a few years, and all of a sudden it's a fucking movie, or it's a TV series, the longest running of all time. So was it that great of a cartoon?
I've seen almost no episodes, but I did go to the Simpsons film premiere because they happened to pick their Springfield. They had a competition to see which Springfield was.
Springfield! I remember that. Yeah.
Yep. Springfield, Vermont won. I just happened to be in Vermont at that time on leave from the Air Force. So, and they had a beer and donuts Ben and Jerry's flavor I had to go try. So it was just special.
Well,
there you go. Sounds delicious.
The funny thing was with the whole the plot of the movie, people wondered later on when Stephen King, the Under the Dome, his book, whether he had the idea first or he stole from The Simpsons, and it turned out he's like, I had the idea back in the 70s, blah, 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 and then I came back to it, and, sort of thing. But
source that Stephen King, right?
They could be part of the same cult. They could be part of the same cult.
And I like some of Stephen King's work, but I said there's some dark shit there. I mean, and if you want to go to some of the movies too, but you know.
When you include child sex in numerous of your fiction stories, I got some questions there, Steve.
Guess who Stephen King based the Antichrist character off from on the movie The Stand in the book?
Todd.
Donald DeFreeze.
You asked me to guess.
Donald DeFreeze. There you go.
Yeah, Donald DeFreeze. Swear to God. Donald DeFreeze.
There is another freeze involved in this movie, and it's the artist. The artist that did the original artwork for the Philip K. Dick story in its first publication. And his last name is Freeze, too. He's famous because he did most of these record covers, like Queen's album with the robot, the famous robot on the Queen record. Queen, yes. Those that group of guys, gay guys.
Girls, guys.
Or happy guys. Happy guys.
Queen,
one happy guy.
I thought it was strange that they started off this film with a Muppet chorus of Bohemian Rhapsody. I thought that was the strangest part.
Mama. Yeah. Mama. Mama.
Was that a different film?
That was the best part of the movie too. No, but the artist for the first appearance of Philip K. Dick's story, The Golden Man, was Frank Kelly Freeze. And he's probably the most famous science fiction artist of the 50s. I mean, he was the second guy inducted into the Science Fiction Hall of Fame, for whatever that's worth. And again,
you're telling me he knows Forrest J. Ackerman, sir. Is that what you're telling me?
Knows Forrest J. Ackerman, probably. But no, he painted the famous little green man picture in the 50s that was in the science fiction magazines everybody recognizes as the alien. The green man. He did the Queen robot cover. He did a ton of pictures. So when you put Philip K. Dick together and the most famous science fiction artist, he's probably going to make an impact.
Oh yeah, that's the News of the World album cover with Queen.
Yep.
Well, he definitely worked for Forrest J. Ackerman. Forrest J. Ackerman was an original member of the Agape Lodge of the OTO. And he was also an original member of Scientology, and he was also an original member of the Church of Satan.
Had the triple
trifecta there, sir. He's a trifecta son of a bitch.
Look out!
Yeah, Queen also did the soundtracks for the Highlander movies, which in the second movie, The Quickening, that was the name of the consciousness
horrible.
evolution of what's the name? It's kind of surrealist movie. Art Bell, he wrote his book called The Quickening. It's all about the consciousness evolution. And notice how Art Bell, he's all serious on that, but everything in this radio show is bullshit because he was perpetuating fucking insanity.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Doing the great work.
Silliness was abounding that year. That song was horrible. Here we are, champions of the universe.
This guy painted Mad Magazine. He's responsible for that character.
Oh man, did he do that cover? Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
My all-time favorite magazine, Mad Magazine. There he is, one of the most famous artists of all time.
From 57 to 58, he was the magazine's new cover artist. He painted most of its covers until 62.
That's right.
The iconic character Alfred E. Newman.
That's right. I had forgotten that he was also involved with Mad Magazine because he did mostly science fiction. But man, he did some of the best Mad covers.
He did a lot of shit, huh?
Covers. Ton of stuff.
Oh, dude, he did the promotional posters for those Nazis at NASA for Skylab. You remember Skylab?
There you go.
Ridiculous thing to proceed to the current space station. Dude, there used to be a video on YouTube where there was a Russian astronaut and an American astronaut running around in a track inside of this motherfucker. And this is the old technology we had for the space station. These guys are Muppets. These people are all Muppets.
Yeah. Now you see.
Now you got people sitting in cramped conditions. They're like, "Oh, it's fantastic." There was one folks that got stuck up there, and Elon Musk got to go save them.
Well, the thing about
after he saved the guys in the ocean, he went up and saved the guy in space.
Yeah, and them kids in the tunnel in Thailand or whatever he was after that one point in time. He's like, "I got to dig shit. You want me to save them kids?" Like, shut up, dude.
Well, that thing about
took his yellow submarine down there.
Right?
What was it?
Oh, you need a submarine? We can call Glenn Maxwell for you.
Which is code word for psychedelics, you know?
I think Arthur C. Clarke and the whole space, because he was involved with those satellites that were doing the first satellite-to-satellite communication. He made the spider web around the world with the satellites, and that
you're on target, sir. All of Arthur C. Clarke, the guy that diddled so many kids in the UK, which says a lot. So they had to banish him to Sri Lanka.
Yeah,
imagine, considering all the diddler problems from Jimmy Savile to Clement Freud to fucking Prince Andrew, and Prince Andrew's uncle, right? He was an ardent diddler. And they're like, yeah, there you go, sir. He was a dark son of a bitch. What was it, Lord Mountbatten, right?
Yeah.
Crazy.
He apparently you got to be on the next level on that field, right?
And then in the music industry, you had the Cray brothers. You familiar with the English Cray brothers?
For sure.
That ran the music industry?
Ronald and Reg?
Yes. Whoa, look out. If you have to deal with these guys, you might broke a kneecap.
Imagine how many kids you got to deal for Arthur C. Clarke there to get banished to fucking Sri Lanka.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
Whoa, they're like, you got to go.
So Arthur C. Clarke, the pervert, he makes
the diddler.
He makes the consciousness evolution movie 2001 Space Odyssey in 2010.
Sure.
And then he shows the sign of the monolith, and then in 2020 Arthur C. Clarke fucking his ghost comes back and puts monoliths everywhere around the world, 36 of them. It's like, oh, what the fuck is this shit? Fucking
in memory of Arthur C. Clarke, the monitor everywhere, yeah.
Would you believe before we had space travel, before we had rockets, before we had satellites, they were all written about by Isaac Asimov, Arthur C. Clarke, and there's another diddler I'm missing. Isaac Asimov's son, who lives off his father's trust, had, at least in the 90s, the largest child pornography stash in American history. And Robert Mueller, that Muppet, said, "You know what, buddy? You don't got to go to prison. We'll just lock you up in your house for a few months."
Was it here in the United States, or was he over in his beloved country, the UK, or where was he?
I believe he was in San Jose. Isaac Asimov and Arthur C. Clarke, I believe both of them gave us a live telecast of the Apollo 11 moon mission. Right? They were on like ABC and CBS, whoever the two broadcasts were. Like, why are science fiction writers part of the Apollo missions? They were technical advisors as well.
Exactly.
In the case of Robert in the case of Robert Mueller, I think he just ran cover for pedos because, I mean, if we want to talk about the whole Whitey Bulger, aspect of things, and whether it was Bulger or his good partner Steve Fleming, who was definitely an admitted pedo. I mean, he liked fucking the daughters of his girlfriends who were underage, and when they started talking or getting out of line, he killed them with the help of Bulger. So, I think Mueller, that's the reason why Mueller has dementia now. I'm pretty sure that the sins of his cover-ups finally caught up with him.
Yeah, once you've done enough, you've done so much damage, eventually you have to just become, I don't remember. Oh. Like Ronald Reagan.
He was born into a Muppet family there. Yep. His first cousin once removed was Dick Bissell. I know that sounds like a made-up name, but it is definitely a Muppet name. He was the operations chief for the Bay of Pigs missions for the CIA.
And did the, what was it? Wasn't it the Black Hawk, the SR-71, I think? Bissell, you said Bissell, right? Richard Bissell?
Yep.
When he got fired, him, Dulles, and Cable got fired because of the Bay of Pigs. The ramifications of it.
And guess who Mueller's wife was? A Cabell. Just saying. He's a CIA family through and through. You know what I mean? Like, there's no way around it. And also, those Cabells are a very powerful Society of Cincinnati family. There was one Cabell father and then 5 Cabell sons. They all served out of the Virginia chapter. One was a governor. That one, the governor one is Virginia Giuffre's 4th great grandfather. Her uncle, she's a Cabell. Her mother's a Cabell. Speaking of Epstein shit and Cabells, her uncle, the Cabell, or mother's brother, is very likely the hereditary member of the Society of Cincinnati on that line. So I think all these folks are born into this kind of shit like that.
When I
just like Nicolas Cage is born into a Hollywood career, right? Courtesy of his uncle Francis Ford Coppola and one cocaine Bob Evans.
Yep. When I think of Whitey Bulger, I always think, man, wasn't his brother or cousin like the governor of
Billy Bulger?
Wherever he. Yeah,
he was the head of the. He was basically like the head of the state senate. He was powerful. And when they were digging up bodies, so he had already been like 4 or 5 years like on the lam at this point. Flemmy had been, he stuck around for whatever reason. And they already had like hearings that exposed their relationship with John Connolly and the feds. And Billy Bulger at this point had moved on to being the president of UMass. And they held, I think it was the 2nd presidential debate between Gore and Bush. Meanwhile, within not even a country mile of the school, they were digging up burial grounds where Bulger and Flemmy had buried victims. Which are like, can you get any more ironic? And then, Billy Bulger was like, I don't know what my brother Jim did. I'm not my brother's keeper. And meanwhile, like,
I know nothing.
They talked about the fact that, like, at one point they had dinner, with Connolly, and I think there was a dinner where it was like Connolly, Bulger, Flemmy, and Donnie Brasco himself, Joe Pistone, was there.
God, the mafia and the highest levels of the government eating dinner with Whitey Bulger sitting over there.
And that's what bugs me, because I used to love that story about Donnie Brasco, because to be honest, there's a connection with where I grew up, one of the gangsters that Donnie Brasco informed on, and thinking he was a hero. And then you hear this and you're like, I think it's a little tainted. And, you realize these guys are, however, either it's despite the fact what a shitbag he was, Hoover used to worry about with agents going undercover, or the fact that just how they're indoctrinated from the get-go, that there's the possibility that they could just, become criminals themselves when they're, doing the job long enough and doing black bag jobs, illegal break-ins, things like that. And they kind of just adapt to the life of the criminals they're trying to catch.
Well, the Serpico story, the New York Police Department in the 70s, and then the LA Police Department in the 80s into the 90s with the police gangs,
Yeah, I mean, and they still hate Serpico.
Who's the bigger criminals?
Nowadays, they still hate Serpico.
Yeah, I'm sure. And I bet there's something sideways about that story.
Brasco, go ahead, sir.
I'm sure there's something sideways about Serpico. They usually don't make a movie and tell you the truth about events. I mean,
starring Al Pacino, Bob Cocaine,
starring the biggest actor of all time.
Cover up.
So it's
Something
interesting, the
else is
Donnie
going on
Brasco investigation, as well as the Abscam investigation, which even in the film they depict a portion of that where they borrow the yacht to take Santos Traficante out on down there in Tampa's. You know, the mob boss associated with the whole JFK thing, the whole Bay of Pigs thing, right? It always goes back to that Bay of Pigs thing, as old Tricky Dick would say.
Cuba.
But the you know, that's all derivative of Elvis Presley's operation for the FBI, which started. It was operated out of the Indianapolis field office. It's the longest running Operation Fountain Pen. He was an undercover agent on this for 3 years. He had FBI guys undercover on his entourage of his tours and whatnot. And the initial mobsters, they took the initial mobsters, because this was the, I think this still might be going on. This is the longest, recognized as the longest running, most jurisdictions, multi-jurisdictional FBI investigation in its Muppet history.
Wow.
But it started in the day after Elvis dies, they indict the initial mobsters down there in Memphis. However, it then years later is boiled over into multiple different field offices, and it then boils over into things like Donnie Brasco, the Abscam situation. So when I say that it might still be going on today, that same Indianapolis field office, that's the only field office I've ever seen produce much out of the FBI. So, you know, if there's any hope in those Muppets out of Quantico, it's actually out of Indianapolis, strangely enough.
So you're Elvis
to get him
Elvis
going.
still alive?
Dude, Elvis is 100% still alive,
Covered up
dude.
his death. Hey, he turned in a lot of people. He stopped a lot of crime. Yeah.
When I was watching the movie, and one of the first notes I took, I was like, wow, I thought it was kind of interesting that they open on A Little Less Conversation, an Elvis song, and Nicolas Cage, second wife, Lisa Marie Presley.
And he loves himself some Elvis, doesn't he? He puts in all of his movies, I believe. Puts a lot of Elvis references in there.
Yeah, wasn't he in that movie?
Well, Honeymoon in Vegas with the Flying Elvises.
Yeah.
There you go.
Wasn't there another one where they were all dressed like Elvis? Or
that was 3,000
miles to
Graceland.
Graceland. Yes, sir.
Kevin Costner, Christian
You know your
Slater.
shitty 90s films there, Phil. I appreciate that, sir.
And you know who else? David Arquette. So one-time brother-in-law of Nicolas Cage.
Yep,
Oh, that's right. He was married to Patricia
to-
Arquette. That's right. That's right. They're a weird cult family, aren't they? Weird Hollywood cult family at that.
They're definitely a strange family, I think. Yeah. I mean, well, and then you had the one
small
who was.
world when it comes to these guys.
You had what was it, Alexis, the one who was, I believe, was might have been transgender or was transitioning, died, I think, a few years ago.
He was in The Wedding Singer with Adam Sandler, right? In the
the one who played the Boy George impersonator.
Yeah, the Boy George character,
and was in
that's
Pulp
right.
Fiction too.
That's right. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah, well, then David Arquette's married to Courtney Cox, and her uncle is Copeland, the brother of Miles Copeland III, former CIA station chief, Scientologist, and all-around Muppet. His sons brought us MTV, and the drummer for the band The Police.
I wonder if they're related to the big TV priest guy, Copeland, Kenneth Copeland.
That I'm unfamiliar with, but it's the right part of the country because I remember reading Courtney Cox's stepfather's, because it's apparently her father that she grew up with, but her stepfather, not her biological father. He died in Alabama, so you're talking about the right area of the country for these Copeland fuckers. That Kenneth Copeland, he's a real Muppet, isn't he? I like him, though. He blew away COVID. He's like, COVID-19, and he just exhales really strongly. I'm like, this guy's a lunatic. But like,
yeah, if you want to defeat COVID, just get a hold of that guy. Yeah. Drive it right out of you. COVID runs out of the building when he's
he'll get rid of COVID.
Yeah.
Dude, he'll get rid of some you got a raccoon problem? Call Kenneth Copeland. He'll just blow them.
Yeah, they're out. If you want to lose some money real fast, yeah.
Well,
He'll take
speaking
it.
of money, they do a lot of the gambling stuff, and here Nicolas Cage is always winning. That's why I think he's like, oh, fuck these guys. I'm like, give me a problem. I'm going to kill them. I'm going to kill the director of security of my film. I'm going to win a lot of blackjack hands in my film.
Stuff they do when they're not acting.
There's
Yeah.
some kind of surrealism or symbology to it. All the cults love to do that. Put weird symbology, some kind of surrealism of the story. You know, the like Cooper talks about how Disney
Kind of like naming him Chris and making him a stage musician in Vegas while they simultaneously have a stage did I say musician or magicians? in Vegas.
It's musician. Yeah.
I can't talk.
It's musician.
Hold on. Stand by.
That's amazing. I didn't know that about you.
What do you know?
That you're a musician. But that's why I'm interviewing you today, so I can get to know you.
So I'm a musician. What the fuck that mean? Make magic or something? What is musician?
I think you're confusing that.
Yeah, I'm not no musician. I make music. I make music. And that's not all I do. I make music, I act. I'm a TV star too, a young mogul.
Just really quick, I think you're confusing.
I'm not confusing nothing because you don't know. You thought that all I was a magician or whatever the fuck you said.
See, that's what I think you think I said.
No,
I said musician, not magician.
I don't think, baby. I don't think. What is that? That's ghetto. I don't think. I know.
So you
think.
I didn't say magician, Suki. I said musician. And I think you are a musician.
No, baby. I do music.
So you just really quick. For the record, could you say you don't think you're a musician?
I'm not none of that.
But then after that, you just said I do music.
Yeah, I do music.
So, in other words, you're a musician.
No, I'm not.
Okay.
Clint, what the fuck you mean I do magic?
Now,
so this is like this is this realism you're talking about, though, right?
Musician. She is not a musician, but she makes music and shit.
The fuck you mean I do
but
magic?
She's not a musician. Don't be accusing me of being no musician. I make music.
Oh, I know you're a musician, Todd. I've heard it. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes I get the voice, yeah. They
so
will
this is the
impersonate.
realism you're kind of talking about, right? I mean, I know the character in the short stories, Chris, but it's nothing to do with stage magic or Vegas or musicians or none of that stuff. But I feel like that's kind of like that was the take I had. I'm like, well, why would they name him the same thing as this guy? You know what I mean? And then put it in Vegas like that.
I mean, think more like the what is that story? The Disney story, Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, Schindler's List.
It's kind of like it's like an alchemical story of the merging of the two opposites. The Nicolas Cage and the woman. They're the two variables that merge at the end or whatever. It's all. I just read so many of those theosophy books. It's like, and then when I found out the Wizard of Oz, it's like, oh, I see what they're doing. They're playing games. They're putting their Nirvana and Samsara bullshit in the movies, and they're. I mean, that's what's really going on with some of these movies. It's like the Wizard of Oz is a total con job. It was totally.
Whoa! How dare you, sir? No, I hate it.
But like,
Wizard of Oz was a con.
Well, it's the same type of movie as Last Action Hero. They're in the black and white.
Wait a second, dude. Wait a second. I love Last Action Hero, so I gotta hear
that's
this.
The thing. I've done a deep analysis on Arnold Schwarzenegger's movies.
And I impersonate him on occasion. So,
and if we're saying Last Action Hero, we got to do R.I.P. Tom Noonan, who was his arch nemesis in the
the serial killer doing the act, right?
Yeah. Well, I mean, watch The Sixth Day and then watch Total Recall.
Oh, for sure.
Back to back.
Well, Total Recall, that's Philip K. Dick.
Well, I think they both are, aren't they? But
I don't know. I've never seen The Sixth Day. What's that about? What'd that do?
I think Sixth Day is like some weird biblical thing.
There's multiple scenes that are the exact same scenarios as in Total Recall, and it's like, what the fuck? And instead of about, and the whole.
You could have told me it was the sixth sequel to Terminator. I would have believed you. Just saying.
It's like all about the sixth day he makes clones or whatever. It's all some sort of weird symbolism.
Isn't each day the gods opening a seal? Each day is opening a seal in the sixth day. And the sixth day is the six seals is open.
Well, there's like this curse of Zeus or some shit where Zeus curses man to have doubles or something. And the story is this surrealist story of the secret religion that they practice. Like in The Wizard of Oz, when she's in Kansas, she's in Nirvana, quote unquote. And then she takes the yellow brick road to the green place to become in Samsara. it's all a bunch of symbolic bullshit.
So they're doing that shit here too. Is that what you're saying to me? Is that what you're telling me?
Probably. It's just like the Disney movies.
Same old tired story.
Yeah, they're just recapping
I thought the ending was weird, just generally speaking. But you're saying there's more of an esoteric understanding of this shitty storyline.
Yeah. They use the type of storylines in different movies that where there's another movie that's very similar to Last Action Hero. Well, I mean, they did the whole.
Well, first of all, sir,
series.
Last Action. There's nothing similar to Last Action Hero. You have a film within a film within a film. Dude, you're in so many layers of reality in that film.
Well, that's the thing. It's like they're showing people a model of conceptualized realities, and so the people are learning something while they're watching the movie. They're learning like a degree in the theosophical orders.
Yeah, I get what Clint's saying. Clint's saying it's guiding the audience into concepts and ideas that they might not be familiar with, like him splitting himself off into numerous selves and then being able to get ahead of himself.
I'm tracking, and to me, that was more of a multi-universe theory they were trying to propose there, right?
Yeah, but it's also the idea of seeing different perspective and aspects to yourself. There's more, in magic, magicians recognize that we're made up of more selves than just one. All of us have more than one self. Inside of us, you have your self that you deal with your boss, your mother, your wife, your kids. You have different aspects to yourself. It's that kind of concept.
Are you telling us you're not going to keep it real?
I'm just joking. I know you're a musician.
I am a musician. I play a mean tambourine.
With Last Action Hero, I mean that movie was notorious because it got so botched. I think the initial screenplay was written by like a newcomer, like it was a novice who wrote it, and then in translation it got because I read a book about a year or so ago which was about the movie action heroes. So Schwarzenegger, Stallone, Van Damme, Bruce Willis, Seagal to a lesser degree, and talked about how the script for Last Action Hero got completely shithoused in one form or another. But I like it. I mean, I don't think it's a bad movie, but it's very meta to a degree.
Compare it to
I agree. I agree. You got the magical aspect to it. Go ahead, sir. What were you saying?
Compare Last Action Hero to Total Recall. Arnold Schwarzenegger in both movies, he meets himself. He's trying to get somewhere, and it's all this symbolic journey of the soul shit that they preach. I don't know if Arnold's in on it or something, but his dad was a Nazi. So.
In Total Recall, did he himself as the Terminator played by Sylvester Stallone? Because that's a great moment in parody history right there.
I mean, even Terminator.
He's in the Blockbuster. No, he's in the Blockbuster. He's in the Blockbuster video store. There's the cardboard cutout of the Terminator 2 film, but instead of Schwarzenegger, it's Stallone on the Harley.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that.
Been a minute since I've seen that one.
Parody,
yeah, it was a good one.
You can't get much more parody than that. He even comments on it. He's like, "Oh, I love this film."
It's his best work. I think he said something along those lines.
And they had about the last time we're going to make movies like this, but it was kind of the end of movies like that too. They don't make movies like that anymore.
Hold on, think about the two first Terminators. It's like the first Terminator, he's bad Arnold. The second Terminator, he's the good Arnold. He's coming back. It's all symbolism.
Did he get in a DeLorean for this time travel when he went back? Was this DeLorean related?
Yeah, that's definitely
Crispin Glover involved.
Because they meet themselves in the movie, and then what's his name? Okay, so take this reference. Compare Wizard of Oz to True Lies, or not True Lies.
Sir, this is not Arnold Schwarzenegger's greatest hits. However, while you're at it, sir, we're talking about the next is the film in 2007. It's very mediocre. It had Charles Manson's boyfriend in it. What were your thoughts on that?
Very brief role, Peter Falk in that movie.
Why was he in there? It would seem like I was like, what a random casting.
Tax problem, favor. I mean,
end of his life, a favor, and his life was almost over. His eyeballs because sideways.
That's exactly what I was thinking, sir. Didn't he get a little start by old Cocaine Bob and The Godfather? Maybe Godfather 2? Previous to Columbo's?
At this point, they might have been out of
Believe he did.
Columbo's to make.
Damn, I just
Can't
watched
remember him in
No one's
Godfather 2.
No one's gonna believe that non-degenarian solving any mysteries. I'll tell you that much. Not, you know, I was kind of surprised. I had not as much Manson lore as I've heard over the years. I had no idea he admitted to having sex with Charles Manson. I was like, well, that's
No
weird.
way.
Jesus.
No way.
When I
Peter
say
Faulkner
it's his
said
boyfriend,
that.
I'm not making this up. I'm not. He says it himself. They were
No.
banging butts or whatever they did.
Wearing it like a badge. Wearing it like a badge. I fucked him.
Something like a badge.
I fucked Charles Manson.
Well,
Holy shit.
That's why I think, and this is just based off the work of certain intrepid researchers, that Aquarius, the David Duchovny show that lasted 2 seasons,
That's what I was gonna
at
bring up.
Manson's the connections up the ladder and the fact that he went both ways, that was highlighted. And
Weird. Okay.
Yeah.
They did not want that show going anymore.
In the TV show, Charles Manson the daughter was in his cult. The father came to get at the daughter, and then Charles Manson pulled an Aleister Crowley, and they diddled with each other. It was like, what the fuck?
And the guy's connected to the Nixon campaign or whatnot. So yeah, there's that was a good show. I mean, and I think they you incorporated a lot of what was kind of like the dark heart of California, between the Summer of Love and the darkness involved there, and what was going on in Southern California, which was pretty much a powder keg with the the race relation.
Underground. Well, also the underground gay scene where all the biggest actors are gay.
You have
Bob Crane and nothing against being gay. It's like the whole thing is like a big taboo. Everybody's having fun and it's in secret. Some people probably aren't having so much fun. Jesus.
I think
to answer Sabrina's question, Peter Falk admitted to having sex with Charles Manson. He's a co-star in tonight's film. He's a supporting actor in tonight's film.
He not only admitted, he bragged about it. It sounds like.
Yeah, he seems to be happy about it, sir. Did you ever see what Priscilla Presley put together here? Speaking of Elvis, Charles Manson threw Elvis and Priscilla out of their Bel Air home for 2 weeks in the summer of '68. That seems to be confirmed by both parties. But he was a big part of the Manson family scene. Oh, big time. Did you see what Priscilla put together here recently, though, with Matthew McConaughey being the voice of Elvis?
No.
Charles Manson versus Elvis.
God damn it.
There we go.
So much angry as I am.
The moment we've been waiting for. You.
Everyone's been waiting for this.
Well, the book last year that came out, the Occult Elvis, that I read and reviewed, Miguel Connor's book.
Connor.
Yeah. I mean, he was really. I mean, that guy is well researched, well written about Elvis's kind of like just foray into a variety of different religions. And I think what was at Scientology is like, yeah, this is bullshit. Like, I mean, that was the one where he kind of like, was a bridge too far, or at least
he was a real magician. He didn't need that phony Scientology stuff.
Go ahead, sir.
He was a real magician. He didn't need that phony Scientology stuff.
Well, here we go. There's a lot of narratives that get spun around now, like he's dead and things like that.
I'm just teasing when I say he was a real magician, but that's pretty much the definition of a magician. What Elvis was doing.
It was deep in theosophy for sure. We had Priscilla going to Manly P. Hall lectures, according to that book, right? You were just talking about, Phil.
I mean, but there would be points when, whether it be Priscilla or even the guys in the Memphis Mafia, would kind of dissuade him from, like, they kicked out the one guy who was kind of like his, not a guru, but someone who was kind of like a spiritual kind of like.
Yeah, you know who that guy was? Jay Sebring's business partner.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Sebring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He can claim he doesn't like Scientology all he wants. A lot of the process folks do. But Elvis was hanging out with the process in the Manson family.
Yeah.
It sounds like you couldn't get away from them. They were everywhere.
The process. Well, according to Ed Sanders, I agree. Yeah, the process people are everywhere.
They're at every party. They're throwing the parties.
Exactly,
the best. I mean, what is Scientology tries to distance itself from the process, right? I mean, they
won't even acknowledge his existence.
But here's the thing: the best way to say, to say you're not working together is by saying, yeah, no, you can't trust that. You could serve an agenda by basically disowning.
There you go, sir. And I appreciate using your brain, old Phil, for God's intended purposes. That's exactly what I think is going on. And here's the evidence of it, right? Where's the black PR campaign against Elvis? How did he get? Was he ever ordered disconnected from his daughter? Oh no, he wasn't, because his daughter grew up in Scientology. Well, then he didn't get declared. He did not get declared an SP. That means that means they're on good terms. You know what I mean? They can spin these narratives all they want, but the evidence dictates what my belief system is, and I think it's right what you're saying. They're going to run cover up for themselves by saying, "Oh yeah, we hate those people. We have nothing to do with those people." And then if they get brought up and asked questions, they just ignore it later. They'll make like one comment on it.
Yeah.
It's a good way to handle something like that, because it doesn't give you the Streisand effect, right? Which is what everyone's getting right now with the Epstein files. It's a lot of Streisand effect actions.
Well, just to give like an example, even though as far as I know they're not involved in Scientology, but I know one was connected with one group. I always go back to 2015, 2016, when Trump had his book, the thing with Megyn Kelly, and that's when Trump and Roger Stone, and they've been friends for years. Stone's like, I got to separate from him.
Are you fucking kidding? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, sir. Go ahead.
And then Stone co-authors 2 books that are negative about the opposition: the Clintons' War on Women and Jeb and the Bush crime family. I believe that was allowed to give plausible deniability, even though they were totally. And again, books had good information; they were co-written, but it was allowed to say, "Hey." It was allowed to be like, okay, well, Roger Stone isn't with the Trump campaign, so you can't connect these negative books to Trump. Even though, I mean, I read both books, and there's a lot of good information.
I totally agree with you, sir.
It gives them that deniability.
So you're saying it was kind of funny at that time, because they tried to distance Stone from Trump, even though they'd been really close friends for a very long time, especially in the political scene. Stone's known for being just a shark in the politics.
Introduced Trump to Roy Cohn. Speaking of the process,
and then you go back to Roy Cohn. I like Trump. I'm not shy about telling you I like Trump. I've liked his, when he first came in and all this. The most troubling part of Trump is the Roy Cohn relationship for me.
Absolutely,
that's really troubled. All this stuff in the Epstein files, you can't flush out anything that's real solid. There's lots of allegations, but you can't flush anything solid out of them. But the Roy Cohn thing, and then JJ's picture of Trump and Roy Cohn, I'm just like, oh my God.
Well, this is a crazy process connection. Speaking of Roy Cohn in the process, I had no idea Greg Fitzsimmons' father was associated with Telethons for the process, because that's Tom O'Neill's buddy, Greg Fitzsimmons.
The comedian?
Jerry Lewis.
Yeah, that's how he got on Joe Rogan Experience with the Chaos book to go perpetrate that nonsense everywhere.
I remember Greg Fitzsimmons was I knew a comedian, but I remember when he was like an MTV, he was like a game show host or whatever at one point back in the 90s.
I think he was like a bootleg behind Colin Quinn there on that remote control type of deal. Nowadays you even have, I just saw today, I think it was today, there's kind of a split where, because there's the whole Bannon Epstein thing and kind of a war going on, because I know Stone is saying, Bannon you can't trust, and blah blah blah. At some point I think Bannon was kind of cast aside, and then all of a sudden he's feeding kind of oppositional information to Epstein, and there's kind of back and forth. And I look at Roger Stone, I don't think Stone's clean, but I think Stone, I remember saying to my father years ago, because my father's a big Trump guy, I said when Stone got arrested, I said Stone's not going to give anybody anything on Trump. I said Stone's half Italian, and I said he wears that shit like it's like a badge of honor.
He won't talk.
built like a fucking solid rock. You can tell he's lifting all the time. He's fucking working out. He's going to. It's rumored he's a swinger. Yeah, he's got his tattoos on him. It's like, whoa! It looks like
he's also a weird swinger. He did PR for Nexium. He got hired as a
tattoo of Nixon on his back.
He got a tattoo of Nixon on his back. He was wrapped up with the madam that took down Elliot Spitzer.
That's right, Heidi Fleischer.
Kristen Davis, I believe is her name.
That's the other one.
Oh yeah, I mean he was in that movie they did, Client 9, where they did about Spitzer to take down
They
Spitzer.
called her into Congress when they were trying to put him in prison there. They called her into Congress for fucking closed door hearings. What the fuck were they talking about?
Stone. See, the thing about a guy like Stone, people hate the fact they have to rely on him. That's how you have a one line in an HBO movie, Recount, where James Baker says, "Get me Roger Stone." The Bushes and Stone didn't get along, but Stone did it because he was loyal to the party.
Sure.
You know, Stone is from what was the firm that Roger Stone was in? Stone, Manafort,
and Muppet.
Atwater, and what was the other guys? Crap. I want to say it was Black, but I'm probably wrong. But they were like
Atwater. He died of that quick cancer there right when Stone quit.
40 years old. Yeah. They did the movie Boogeyman about Lee Atwater, because they always said if Atwater would have lived, Bush would have beaten Bill Clinton.
Right.
They were pretty sure of that because Atwater foresaw Bill. But then again, Clinton and Bush. There's always a possibility that Bush would have laid down because there was always that Nina connection with it.
Well, there you go. I was about to say they're both being roasted in Congress, even though their names aren't being brought up formally, but they're both involved in all the affairs have hearings about in Congress at the time, right? At the same time, they're running against each other in a presidential election.
Yeah, I mean, and we're about to hit the 40th anniversary when they both kind of celebrated over Barry Seal getting killed because it benefited them both.
Was that famous picture in the barbecue in Kenny Bunkport, along with that one Muppet who ran for president's Democratic Party in the 70s? Shit. That's not his name, but shit. Right? Wallace? Not Wallace. McGovern.
McGovern. I mean, McGovern was from where's McGovern from?
Was he Bama?
No, that was Wallace.
That was okay, I was getting this too mixed up.
McGovern was from the Midwest.
Oh, Minnesota.
Yeah, he was Midwest.
But there's that famous picture though at the Bush compound in Kenny Bunkport. I think it's around the same time you're talking about when Seal dies. You got Bill Clinton drinking a beer or whatever with George Bush, and I think it's McGovern. Yeah, no, I mean, there's a reason why W called Bill Clinton my brother from another mother. I said I don't believe anything about them being like mortal enemies. I believe that Barry Seal had video footage of W and Jeb offloading cocaine, and W having that youthful indiscretion, also known as having a raging coke problem. And again, not judging, but that's the thing that was hinted at in the book Fortunate Son, that J.H. Hatfield, who was suicided. Well, it's not, sir. It's not like Bill Clinton's brother is not on camera from the Arkansas State Police telling undercover agents in a coke pie that it's for his brother. He's got a nose like a Hoover, right?
Yep. And he had Bill Clinton back in the, I think, 80s had some sort of like allergic reaction, and because that's even been documented in certain, I'll tell you, Progressive Review, one of the better websites that's been written by someone who's more Democrat, Sam Smith, said, and Clinton had a reaction. Hillary went around the hospital threatening doctors. And, because again, Hillary, in terms of Bill's rise to power, Bill fucked around within the first 5 years of their marriage. And Hillary rode the coattails. Vince Foster, probably. A little bit of both. I mean, I know L.D. Brown in his book Crossfire. L.D. Brown was one of the state troopers, said that Bill and Hillary were swapping, like they'd go out with Vince and his wife, I think her name was Lisa, and they were swapping.
Well, it's been long rumored that Bill got thrown out of the Rhodes Scholarship Program along with his roommate Strobe Talbot, who would later be part of the administration due to some homosexual activities.
How dare you? 9/11.
Bill's response was, "It depends on your definition of what the word is."
9/11, an inside job. How dare you?
That's the stuff that's always kind of, for as much as like they want to say like, you know, Bill Clinton and Jennifer Flowers, it's the other way. I remember reading about W with Tony Blair back in the 2000s, whether there was stuff going on, or W with Condoleezza Rice. You know, there were certain allegations they didn't want to talk about. Meanwhile, it's like, I know a certain awesome friend of ours who's mentioned Jeffrey Epstein with Lord Mandelson, you know, and certain relationships. So I said, it wouldn't surprise me if, you know, come on. Despite the fact what year we're in now, there's the way certain relationships play that are not going to play in certain antiquated areas. And especially if you're saying I'm a family guy and, you know, this and that, you're like,
it's the same reason why Hollywood has to shitcoat and all this homosexual activity, because folks wouldn't go see these films, right? They've always known that, right? Since the days of Rhett Butler and all them, you know, them older. What's the guy's name? I can't think of. Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson.
Rock Hudson. Famous homosexual, but he was always portrayed as a straight man because Hollywood knew that. He's also a Scientologist, by the way. Everyone knew that no one was going to go see his films. Tom Cruise.
Oh yeah, well, the studio.
Knew Tom Cruise fucked dead fish. Do you think they'd go see another one of his films again?
Jesus. Wait, did you say dead fish? Is that because speaking of The Simpsons, going back on that, there was the whole thing where they had their actor Troy McClure, voiced by Phil Hartman, who was the names were based off two pretty boy actors, Troy Donahue and Doug McClure. Loved going to the Springfield Aquarium because he had a very weird and rare sexual sort of issue, and then eventually winds up marrying Homer Simpson's sister-in-law. I swear to God. I'm like, The Simpsons?
Those are the long-standing ones around Tom Cruise.
People, and I'm telling you, again, The Simpsons is not perfect, but I said there's certain things they write in. There's an episode where Homer decides to go out to become a clown, and he becomes Krusty the Clown. And in that episode, they have multiple, in a small amount of time, references to the Kennedy assassination. And I'm like, I've seen it and pointed it to my wife, and I'm like, the guy talks about three shots in his gun, and it looks like it's Dealey Plaza, and I'm like, they know. They put stuff in there because some of it, I think the writers are like, let's see what will fly, and there's other things where they're in on it. So it sounds very prescient. It's a little bit mixed and matched, but
well, this is how I got introduced to Philip K. Dick, The Man Who Remembered the Future, a book by Anthony Peake. Because
he died young. He was only like 50-something years old when he passed, Philip K. Dick.
He was not that, but he was so prescient in all of his stories. I often joke that we live in a Philip K. Dick nightmare. I wish he would have written better, like more happier tales.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Yeah.
Well, think about what we've named off: Total Recall, right? You know, this shitty film. Blade Runner. We got Minority Report, right?
Scanner Darkly.
Scanner Darkly, starring Bill Hicks. That was right, and Keanu Reeves.
Minority Report. I think you already said that.
But how creepy is that? When speaking to Tom Cruise, right?
Yeah.
Wasn't Kubrick supposed to be involved in Minority Report?
I think initially
he was working on that. Yeah, and then Spielberg took it, right?
Yeah, I think that one and that weird AI movie he did, Spielberg did. I think
the one with Haley Joel Osment, who was definitely been touched. I think in some form, and not by an angel.
He's got as many problems as Shia LaBeouf does, doesn't he?
Yeah, there's a Dan Schneider in there somewhere.
I think it's interesting. LaBeouf just got arrested at Mardi Gras the other day. I'm not saying he's a member of the Society of Cincinnati. I'm saying he's got kinfolk LaBeoufs out of New Orleans because all the French Society came to New Orleans when they got kicked out of France in 1792. He's got kinfolk LaBeoufs in the French Society, and he's getting arrested in their hometown. It sounds a little suspect to me.
And his co-star from one of his the kids show. What was it? Even Stevens or whatever. I think just tested. She has cancer.
Oh, they were going to say Holes. What a weird title for a
show.
Yeah,
no. The network show they were on, I think it was Even Stevens. I think she has cancer or something. I'm like,
as much bad press as the Boof gets, he still hangs on and maintains and in your face. He's still out there and top
right
of
your
face.
It's
right in your face.
Well, don't forget, he was in the Wall Street sequel, if I'm not mistaken. Wasn't he the one who was in Wall Street 2, Money Never Sleeps?
Transformers,
Transformers,
biggest movie freaking that year.
Michael Bay, one of the Epstein survivors, Juliette Bryant, has accused Michael Bay of being with Epstein. She doesn't back down. I know. I follow her on Twitter. She's popped up. She's given interviews with a few people, but I know some of David Icke's people, Rich Willett, stuff like that, people like that. I mean, I like those guys. But yeah, she said Michael Bay is involved. She's not afraid to call him out, constantly. So I have questions about Michael Bay.
Michael Bay. That's not that's not a name that gets thrown around a lot like that.
No, not first I heard.
What movie did Michael Bay? Michael Bay did Bad Boys. And there's a Scientology connection because that's Will Smith.
That's a heavy Will Smith. They even did that weird. The third one they did a couple years. I never seen it, but
they've done 4 now. They've done 4 Bad Boys, haven't they?
Was it? I stopped after number. I couldn't quite tell you, but I know they come out.
The last one I saw was number 2, and number 2, the one thing I remember about that was that Jerry Stahl worked on that. And Jerry Stahl, I like. He's the one that did Permanent Midnight. He was the guy who was the TV writer with the huge heroin addiction. And when they did his life story, it was Ben Stiller played him. And it was funny enough because one of the guys who's in that movie, Permanent Midnight, Peter Green, who passed last year, they just came out with the medical examiner in New York City, his suspicious death. They were like, "Oh, accidental gunshot." I'm like, "It took."
I saw that, months. Dude. What kind of conclusion is that?
2
Oh,
months.
yeah, accidental gunshot.
And did you hear about the note? There was what was written. They found a note under him initially, and it said, "I am the last Westie." And I'm like, Hell's Kitchen Irish Mob?
That Green story is crazy.
There's weird stuff because right after he passed, we don't have enough time to deal with one celebrity death over another. And recently we've seen that a lot. Catherine O'Hara, James Van Der Beek, Robert Duvall. It feels like we're just leapfrogging deaths. But Peter Green dies in his apartment, and there's like a day or 2 before they find him or whatever. And then you had Rob Reiner's death, which, let's face it.
Are you telling me Zed's dead, dude? Zed's dead?
Zed's dead.
Also,
Zed's dead, man. Zed's dead.
Mr. Redfoot, if we want to go usual suspects.
Oh, shit. You want to talk about some diddling that went on there? That was Kevin Spacey and Bryan Singer together.
Bryan Singer, yep. Well, did you hear the whole
that sounds like a very mysterious death with this guy, right? I mean, I haven't seen all the details, but what you're describing is even more mysterious than I thought.
Such a good character actor, but yeah, no, his death was weird. But it's funny with what were we talking about? Crap! I just lost my train of thought.
Zed's dead, baby. Zed's dead.
Yeah, such a great movie. But yeah, no, great character actor. And they said he was working on something about. I think they said he was working on a documentary.
She's a credit record. She doesn't know that missing a monthly payment can stay on her credit report forever.
1 second. Okay, go ahead, sir.
With USAID, they were saying that Peter Green was working on a documentary about defunding of USAID. Now, is there any truth to that? Who knows? I mean, we're in so much.
That'd be interesting because that's a CIA outfit through and through, right?
Yeah, but I think they were trying to say because of Trump defunding it sort of thing. And again, I am not a Trump booster in the least, but I said I'm also not one who sees every conspiracy revolving around him. But yeah, Green's death was weird, and considering the fact that he lived in an apartment, who wouldn't have heard a gunshot unless it was like soundproof?
Yeah, dude, I got a lot of questions about this. But it's sad to hear Zed's dead.
Yeah.
Where did you get this motorcycle?
It's a chopper.
It's not a motorcycle, baby. It's a chopper. Come on, let's go.
What happened to my Honda?
I'm sorry, baby. I had to crash that Honda. Will you come on now, please? Come on, let's go. Let's go. Let's go.
Still stands as Tarantino's best work.
You hurt?
No, I might have broken my nose. It's no biggie. Come on, hop on. Baby, please, honey, we gotta hit the fucking road. Come on.
He's so dumb. Good God.
I mean, Willis is almost no longer with us too, right? He's on his deathbed from my understanding.
I don't know what happened to him.
He went quick too, right? Speaking of Vanderbeek, he went fast.
I'm so sorry. You've gone so long, I started to think dreadful thoughts.
Oh, I'm sorry, sweetie. I didn't mean to worry. Everything's fine. How was your breakfast?
It was good.
Did you get the pancakes? The blueberry pancakes?
I didn't have blueberry pancakes.
Oh, this is the weirdest scene they talk about.
Sure you're okay.
You know, they're running away from folks trying to kill them. They want to talk about breakfast.
Weirdest fucking
Tarantino writes some weird
hop on, I'll tell you all about it. Come on, get on.
How did Tarantino manage to become like the biggest grumpy old man possible? Like, he's like he's shitting on Paul Dano, he's shitting on like every movie.
Yeah, well, he's fled to Israel too, right? He seems like he's trying to get out of some weird shit, right?
Well, I mean, did you watch anything with the Super Bowl?
No.
They had
a Bison Rancher now, sir. I don't have time for that.
I only watched it. I watched the Super Bowl for two reasons. One, for my numbers. They did not happen, which led to me hitting my head against the wall. No, I'm kidding. I fell the next day. But no, I watched it for the commercials. That was my main part. And they had a preview for the sequel to Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, I heard that was remade about Cliff High's character,
Baxter,
right? Brad Pitt character.
David Fincher's directing, but it's off the Tarantino script. But it was so like frigging like anything with smoking, all this stuff. It was kind of like almost kind of like parody of itself because what they kind of blocked. It's going to be a straight to Netflix movie. I'd see it. It looks good, but yeah,
I'd watch it. I liked Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I enjoyed it.
Oh, I like the movie a lot. I bought it for my wife, and we watched it during COVID. And it was an enjoyable movie. Yeah, Tarantino.
Well, I like how he sneaks the Manson stuff in there because most folks don't think Bruce Lee and Manson family, but Bruce Lee was hanging out with the Manson family.
And when supposedly Polanski was all paranoid after the deaths, and he suspected Bruce, and he suspected a couple of people. I think John Phillips or whatever. Yep.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? I would have thought
John Phillips, who was documented by, I think the term is financier, I believe is how I pronounce it, of the process.
And, molesting his daughter, he was, not good people. Let me put it this way. Bruce Lee, way above where John Phillips is, but, I mean, well, people took Tarantino to task of his portrayal.
Can you hold that thought for me, please, sir? Just 1 second. We have a special guest just entered the chat here. One of our favorite Muppets from Langley. Our channel, my favorite CIA AI bot, Bill Copey, ball washing son of a bitch. Tell those Muppets at Langley, your friends, to go fuck themselves. You're late, by the way. I'm reporting you. I'm filing a report on you, sir.
It's a disappointment. Total disappointment.
Slacking, RR, you're slacking. I demand better Muppetry out of my tax dollars. I'm just kidding. I'll pay taxes. What were you saying about creepy Tarantinos?
No, Mr. Foot Fetish. Yeah, which one of the things I've heard. No, you know what?
Yeah, well, he highlights it in a lot of his films.
Kill Bill.
Well, yeah, with Tarantino, like my estimation of him went down a little bit when I read Rose McGowan's book. Sure. When she was filming, what was it, The Grindhouse, that whole movie, and she was with Robert Rodriguez, and she was like, him and Tarantino were basically kind of like body count sort of, situation, just talking shit and whatnot. And, I always think back to, and again, like I was in high school when Pulp Fiction came out and everybody was talking about it. I liked it. I mean, I love it. And Reservoir Dogs is one of my favorites. But I always think back to one of my favorite authors, James Elroy, when they'd ask him about Tarantino. It's like, he's a fucking punk. You know, like he was just kind of like, you know, like flash in the pants guy. And meanwhile, like Tarantino worked with Eddie Bunker. Eddie Bunker was a stone cold, you know, criminal at one point with, you know, the youngest inmate at San Quentin who eventually got Danny Trejo's start in Hollywood.
That's what I was going to say. We got him surrounded by Scientologists, and Robert Rodriguez, his first cousin, Danny Trejo, knew Charles Manson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, but yeah, with Tarantino, it's like, you know, the thing about Tarantino, and again, immensely talented, but will he ever own up to the fact that he might liberate certain ideas for his work? Fuck no. Like the fact that Reservoir Dogs is based off like I think it's like a Hong Kong or a, you know, Chinese gangster movie. Probably not. I said, just the way he is. And nowadays he goes and shits on like this, and this. He's going to retire soon. I think he'll do one more movie and it'll be done. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, though, is pretty damn good. I'm not going to lie. I
don't disagree. I apologize for leaving you backstage again there, Todd. If you did your wizard skills and snuck back in, I didn't see you. Congratulations.
My dog was crying. Max was crying.
I
wanted to be on the show.
City on Fire. I think that's the Reservoir Dogs.
Max says hello.
I think that was the inspiration for Reservoir Dogs.
Pardon for the inspiration. Speaking of Reservoir Dogs, I got a cute Reservoir dog right here. No. I was listening backstage, man. I'm glad we got you on here, Phil. Whew, super brain on this stuff. Love your recall, sir. All that information.
Well, it's fucking up. Oh, so, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
You know, there's rumors of Tarantino, and you know, Hollywood's got these rumors, the darkest ones of the snuff films. That there's these snuff films that exist in the background. Peter Sellers is big in this story. You know, back in the late '60s, supposedly involved in some stuff. And man, I guess that.
So you're telling me the Pink Panther's involved?
Yeah, the greatest actor of the 1960s, Peter Sellers, right behind or before David Niven. No. I love Peter Sellers. Pink Panther, first James Bond, Casino Royale. Hell yeah.
Well,
all the best movies.
His best role, though, I think, was in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, if I may. David Niven.
No, he wasn't. David Niven wasn't in Ferris Bueller.
The guy that reminds me of the restaurant there where he's Abe Froman. Abe Froman's
the Sausage King of Chicago.
That dude's doing a David Niven for sure.
There you go.
With Peter Sellers, I think I might have mentioned it to you, JJ. If not, I might have mentioned it on another one. With when Peter Sellers had, I think it was the equivalent of 6 or 7 heart attacks. It was when he took amyl nitrate.
Oh.
Yeah, no.
What year is this about, Phil? What year was this about?
I think that was in the 60s because it went to, so a year or so ago, and I'm going to reference a good friend of our universe, Dana Duda, the Jersey Kavinsky story being there with Peter Sellers.
Yeah.
And Jersey Kavinsky was connected with Polanski, if I'm not mistaken.
I think they did some docking stuff, if I'm not mistaken.
So for years, Peter Sellers was not a bankable actor. Like, he lost a lot of credibility, and his health was shit, but also I think it was rumored about his proclivities. And he did amyl nitrate, and I think he was with, was it Elka Summer? It was like someone who was like, well, let's put it this way out of his league, if you really want to put it that way. And he did amyl nitrate, and it caused like 6 or 7 heart attacks. He was an unbankable star, kind of the way Marlon Brando was in the first Godfather. Like and just watching the movie The Offer about JJ, we talked about the thing with Brando.
Exactly.
He's crazy. You know, like they made him
insane. Peter Sellers. He's Peter Sellers plays in Lolita.
Yeah,
Yep.
Right?
Lolita. Yep. Mm-hmm.
You are correct, sir.
And who's the director of Lolita?
It was
Stanley
what's his name? Kubrick. Yep.
Kubrick.
Yep.
Jeez. No,
And I don't believe Kubrick
there.
wasn't a Scientologist. His daughter was a Scientologist. He was BFFs with Paul Krasner. He was a Scientologist. And Jeffrey Epstein was paying for Paul Krasner's medical bills. Those receipts were.
And what does Jeffrey Epstein call his plane? The Lolita Express. I mean,
there you go, sir. Boom.
how weird is this?
Right,
I mean, it's like
right in
a
your face hole, Todd.
The one.
it's like they wear a badge.
The
I'm flying on
Lolita
Lolita
Express,
Express.
which has stairs which could deploy mid-flight. Which, by the way, has come up multiple times.
So you parachute. So
A
you parachute
727.
out.
That's how. That's
727.
That's how DB Cooper escaped. It's the same model
and
aircraft.
that has been mentioned because it just came up this week in the Twitter timeline. Because one of my other favorite guys, Charlie Robinson, just mentioned it. He's mentioned it like 5 or 6 times on his podcast. He's like, "Yeah, no,
That's crazy."
Epstein had it. I think he might have said Branson. Like there was multiple people who had it, but not many do. So it's like, why did you have a plane where stairs can deploy, possibly mid-flight, which almost sounds like
it does mid-flight. That's how it was designed by the CIA and Boeing designed that. We later find out because you see it in one of them Batman films. They do a little project hook, some sort of hooking thing where they talk about the CIA developed this technology, Skyhook.
Right.
That shit was real, but they depicted it out of a C-130 in the film. It was really made out of that 727 with Boeing. They developed it back in the early 60s during
Makes perfect
Phoenix
sense.
program. Colby's Queers. Hey, one's for you, you fucking Muppets of Langley.
Well, I wonder who DB Cooper really was.
Well, I have
all I know about DB Cooper is the airline my mom worked for years later, and he did it 9 years to the day I was born. He did it November 24th. Yeah, no, it's. I always find
like weird synchronicity.
That's funny.
I think I was born on a conspiracy synchronicity. Jack Ruby killing Oswald and all that sort of thing. I'm like, wow, my birthday.
There you go.
Yeah.
This is a video. I got a clip here of Peter Sellers and his heart attacks.
The Bears.
Everything okay?
Yep, just having a heart attack.
No problem. Just having a heart attack. Almost over. Done. Very good.
How many is I mentioned you there, Tad? About a baker's dozen.
Talk about predicting the future.
Yeah, shit. In Farley's case, holy shit. I mean,
yeah, that's probably exactly how it went. He's like, "Don't worry, I'll just do another paintball and I'll go. My heart will come back to normal." Holy shit! John Belushi, same thing. Big giant 8 balls at the fucking California, that motel in California where they all.
Well, that story is very suspect, sir.
I hear you.
Who was besides the woman who I think actually did time, as opposed to the woman who left Farley? Who were the 2 guys who left Belushi at the Chateau
That were there in the
Marmont?
room. Yeah.
Oh, shoot.
Wasn't.
Oh, go ahead.
Weren't they 2 of the Saturday Night Live people or something?
I think Dan Aykroyd was one of them.
Yeah, I think it was one of them at least.
Was it Robin Williams?
Who was it, Phil?
Robin Williams and Robert De Niro.
Oh,
there you
shit.
go.
De Niro was there. I didn't know that. I always thought it was
totally outstanding gentlemen. Yeah.
There was a connection. So Chateau Marmont, Lorne Michaels used to go there a lot initially in the early years of SNL. Now, don't get me wrong. I mean, cocaine was very prevalent at with SNL. I mean,
Belushi's nose holes.
Well, it's so.
God, they said it was everywhere. It was on set. It was on the set the whole time.
Al Franken, a lot of those guys. Michael O'Donoghue. By the way, one of the best writers of Saturday Night Live was Michael O'Donoghue. But with years later,
Charles Rocket.
Well, and
you got that one, didn't you, Bill?
And got fired for saying "fuck" on the air.
And then he took a couple shots to the back of the head and strangled himself in a field in Connecticut or something like that.
You know what? He didn't jump and shoot himself. He didn't do like a Mark Middleton sort of death in Arkansas. He was in Arkansas, but with with SNL, yeah, I mean, cocaine. I when they did the sort of dramatic take, which was they did Studio 60 and they did 30 Rock in the same year. So 30 Rock was Tina Fey. Studio 60 was the one with Matthew Perry and Bradley Whitford. And I remember there was an episode when they were comparing Studio 60 with SNL. You're saying the Coneheads and Toonces the Cat weren't drug related, you know, like all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, no, it was all drug related. They were all on drugs. I mean, everybody talks about SNL and talks about Chevy Chase. They were all, I mean, all you got to watch is that Netflix movie they did Saturday Night. They were all on drugs.
Yeah. All you got to do is watch Eddie Murphy do James Brown Too Hot for the Hot Tub.
Oh, yeah. or John Belushi do the samurai guy.
Oh,
chopping that was the samurai.
He hit Buck Henry in the head. He cut the co-star in the head. And I mean, well,
swinging the samurai sword.
When you have ego and drugs, and again, like, you know, it was funny enough when Bob Woodward wrote Wired, and I will never give Bob Woodward credence at all because I think he's an intelligence shithead.
Totally.
But it was a couple of years ago, Bill Murray was on Joe Rogan, and he was like, yeah, after Woodward wrote Wired, and he was like, holy shit, they framed Nixon. And it's kind of like funny because now there's the whole revelations about what just came out about the Joint Chiefs spying on Nixon and all that other stuff. But I was like, yeah, no, I would not trust any depiction of someone like Belushi from Bob Woodward. However, John Belushi's drug problems were bad. And yes, I see Doug Kenny is one of my favorites. Futile and Stupid Gesture is a great book and a great Netflix documentary. Not documentary.
He was also 33 when he died.
Yeah, and who was one of the last people with him? Chevy Chase.
I was going to say Dan Aykroyd again, but I would have been wrong.
Nah, well, no. Dan Aykroyd liked hanging out with bikers and was kind of like a little bit subversive and is into the occult.
Kind of like Hunter Thompson, the biker.
Yeah, he is. He bought Mama Cass's house.
You know who I think has been kind of messed up from his time with Hunter Thompson?
John Depp. John Cusack. Yeah, he's kind of a one you don't think of when you think of Hunter Thompson.
I love Grosse Point Blank, though. Grosse Point Blank.
I love Grosse Point Blank. That is a great movie.
Speaking of Dan Aykroyd.
Yes. Mr. Grosser. Yeah.
Yeah.
The Hitman. Fucking Blank. Stick chub out right from under me. Yeah, no, that is a good movie. But yeah, no, with I think SNL, to be honest, is kind of like has that Poltergeist Comedy Store, has that curse. Like it's only kind of hit that peaks. That's how you hit 1,000 episodes of a show is over the bodies of certain people, whether it be Belushi, Radner, Charles Rocket, who was only on for a season.
They're like sacrifices.
Phil Hartman.
For the show itself to guarantee its success going into the future for these weirdos.
And all of this talent has left this world at a very early age, and yet we're left with nothing but Nicolas Cage, who, by his own admission, admits to having taken crummy roles to pay back debt following real estate market crash. So he admits to having a very mediocre career.
Well, you know, he bought Superman #1 and got robbed. Do you remember that story?
I know he's addicted to Superman, but please, I don't know that, sir. Please indulge.
He bought that comic and a number of others that were like these certified worth $3 million comic books. And then somebody, they never said who, I don't remember hearing who did it. Somebody broke into his house and stole most of the shit that he had that was of value. And part of that was comic books, Superman #1 and other ones. The only reason I remember this story is because years later, about 5 years later, they called Nicolas Cage and they said, hey, somebody didn't pay their storage unit fee. Here's your Superman comic #1 worth millions of dollars, and along with many other things.
That on this one sounds like an insurance scam on the part of Cage.
It does kind of sound. Now that you mention it, now I'm looking at the story. I'm going, that sounds kind of fishy. But anyways, he got his Superman #1 back years later.
Oh, Columbo concluded he had sex with Charles Manson. He says, "Fuck your mysteries, Todd." That's what Columbo said.
Oh, Columbo. My wife was like, "Oh God, Columbo's in there." I'm like, "Yeah, look at him over there. Well, it's weird, man. Haven't seen that guy forever." Well, that must be one of his last roles because
I
remember seeing him around in 2007. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh yeah, that was
Was he the giver or the
I think it's
taker?
definitely an occultist. What are your all's thoughts on that?
Manson thing.
He bought this mansion of this serial killer. This lady was a serial killer in New Orleans. Speaking of New Orleans, we were talking, or they say New Orleans, where old Shia LaBeouf got boofed. Nicolas Cage had a mansion down there of this famous lady, serial killer lady, who killed 30 some odd people plus. And then a couple years ago, there was an arson after. This is when he owned it, or shortly thereafter. I think he lost it in some bankruptcy filing. But arson uncovers torture chamber and mansion in New Orleans enslavers. So
in New Orleans,
he owned a mansion with a torture chamber and shit.
He did.
Jesus.
Nicolas Cage lived in this motherfucker until he lost all his money in that Nigerian.
Not the famous torture mansion in New Orleans.
Yes, sir. The home of Delphine Mallory. She murked a bunch of. She was a socialite. He was just down there murking fools, dude.
If you had the money, who wouldn't want to own the torture mansion of some racist?
Well, I can assure you, sir, I don't want to know torture's going on in my mansions. I don't have a mansion, but if I did, I don't want no tortures here.
JJ, you just don't have an appreciation for New Orleans real estate. I mean, that's
right. How much money you can make off that sucker? Just rent it out or something.
Sometimes you got to help. You got to help the resale value. And when you say, "Hey, there's about 20, 25 people under the crawl space," and we do what we got to do.
Exactly.
I think New Orleans.
Oh, they were going for the Gacy effects, is what they were doing. I see.
New Orleans. You know what? When I think about New Orleans, I think about when I read, what was it? Dr. Mary's Monkey by Edward Haslam about Mary Sherman and David Ferry and all the stuff about JFK.
Cancer
initially, and biolabs and all the stuff
Tulane University?
Yeah, Tulane. Which, interestingly enough, I just read a book for review about the rebuild of Tulane after Katrina, and it was the other university was Alabama after the Civil War when it got firebombed. But I was more interested in Tulane. But thinking about Alton Oxner, the doctor who's involved with a lot of nefarious stuff down there.
Fucking
one of the biggest regrets I will have. So about over 10 years ago, I was supposed to go down to New Orleans. It was for a family member's bachelor party, and I was the best man. Didn't happen, but I was going to go down. I was going to go see some of those, where Ferry lived and all that stuff, and Mary Sherman, because that whole story has always interested me, and the fact that people went from being like they were talking about it to just the way they are in Dallas about certain things, and the way certain people are in California about, certain events in 1969, they start climbing up and they don't want to talk about it anymore. But
that whole Bay of Pigs thing, I'm telling you, bud, it seems like it doesn't matter which way you cut it. No one wants to talk about that shit still till today. It seems like.
I think that Nixon line about, it's going to open up the whole Bay of Pigs thing, and people are like, what, and what was it? Haldeman's
like,
book
what the
is
fuck
like,
is he talking about? This guy lost his shit. At that time, no one was considering these things being connected. That's film.
So with this whole thing that just came up the last couple of weeks with about Nixon with the Joint Chiefs spying on him, which has been out there, but it's kind of like that sort of reverberating news where it's like, holy shit, I never heard about this. If I haven't seen it, it's news to me. Well, meanwhile, it's been like circulating for 30 plus years. That's kind of where we are with these sort of events where it's kind of like it's circulating, coming around again.
If you remember the Nixon thing in America's conscious is pretty much shaped by the movie. It's pretty much shaped by the story of how it went down with Woodward and Bernstein. And when you look at it now, you realize, man, these guys work for the government. Woodward and Bernstein are CIA writers. I mean, basically, might as well just put a badge on, CIA or whatever you want to call
One
it.
of them is O&I, right?
Say that again, JJ? Sorry.
Which one?
One of those Muppets is O&I.
I kind of remember the history of those two a little bit.
You know,
they were mismatched. I know that they weren't a team forever. They just got together on that Nixon story.
100%. So what I'm going to say, and this goes to Jim Hogan's book, Spooks, which was not Spooks, Secret Agenda, which was about Watergate. Woodward was O&I, and then all of a sudden gets a job at the Washington Post. Bernstein was kind of more the scrapper. However,
yeah, he's like the Beard. He's like the real reporter that's actually a kind of a reporter. The other guy's the O&I guy, like the relationship between Oswald and Guy Bannister.
Yeah. What do they say? Once O&I, always O&I. But
exactly.
That's right.
As Hogan mentions in Secret Agenda, Woodward was spying on Bernstein because Bernstein had some off-color habits. Bernstein was married to Nora Ephron, the screenwriter.
I did not know that.
Sleepless in Seattle and My Blue Heaven, because her later on partner was Nicholas Pileggi. Wise Guy, Casino, all that. And just did, I think his last project was The Alto Nights, the one where De Niro played dual roles. And
My Blue Heaven was terrible. I mean, Rick Moranis and Steve Martin, I had a lot more hope for that.
Do you know that was based? that was the comedy side of Henry Hill's life and Witness Protection.
And how ridiculous is that? You know what I mean?
Well, Henry Hill wanted to sue, and meanwhile, it was no. Nora Ephron was on the other side of the bed while Nick Pileggi's getting phone calls from Henry Hill saying, "Hey, I just got married," that sort of thing. That's Henry Hill being the freaking burnout degenerate that he was by that point, before he popped up on Howard Stern's show every other minute talking about how he was possibly involved in a devil's threesome sort of situation, because that's what Henry Hill had degenerated.
Was he pulling a Columbo? Is that what he was doing?
I think Henry Hill was so fucked by drugs by that point.
Did he also sleep with Charles Manson? You never know.
Maybe. I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Goodfellas, but I said, you know what? When you cling to that sort of celebrity, and you're hanging on Howard Stern, who nowadays is clinging to that celebrity, who knows? But in regards to Woodward and Bernstein, Bernstein was a degenerate in certain ways. He was the guy who, he could have been compromised, because later on he talked about the fact that there was a connection between the media and the CIA, not even realizing, my co-writing partner is connected to intelligence.
Yeah, he doesn't know about Operation Mockingbird. Yeah, he doesn't know about Operation Mockingbird yet.
Richard Nixon, Bob Haldeman, and John Ehrlichman died not knowing what they were covering up.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I have no doubt. The compartmentalization with these Muppets, that's why they have dumb and depraved Muppets. They don't ask a lot of questions.
When you listen to the tapes of Nixon, when you listen to these Nixon tapes, and there's tons of them, but any part of that you listen to, you realize he doesn't realize they're recording him. He thinks on a lot of these tapes that he's having a special conversation with his friends. Maybe he does realize they're recording him, but it won't get out. No one will ever hear him saying all this garbage.
Is that why he called it Bohemian Grove a bunch of faggotry?
Most likely.
Probably.
Goddamn. You go to Bohemian Grove. They're just a bunch of fags. Pissing in the trees.
Well, the Ben Franklin thing. Ben Franklin was a scientist. He was performing autopsies, which were illegal at the time. And
the bodies.
Yeah, that's what that's about. It was all about science. He wasn't doing any type of supernatural.
Nixon didn't have the same kind of religious background that the ruling class of the presidents have in the United States. He was more like a Protestant or some kind of Midwestern.
I thought Quaker. I thought he had a Quaker background. Nixon. Yeah.
Yeah, he grew up in
Whittier,
California.
He's not skull and bones getting spanked. He's not like a wasp. Going up at Yale University.
Awkward. He was very awkward, like with women. I mean, in the end, he accompanied Pat, his wife, while she went on dates. And there's only been like one book, Anthony Summers. Now, Anthony Summers is an author who went from being conspiracy to kind of like trying to walk, like now he's more like mainstream establishment. And again, I've read a couple of his books. I like some of them, but I think he's walked back his previous beliefs. But when he wrote, I think it was The Arrogance of Power, he said that Nixon had an affair with a woman of Asian descent. But he also said that he hit Pat and all these other things, which again, take for it what you will. And again, if you're a wife beater, I have no respect for you.
No wonder he wanted to open the doors to China. Yeah, no, I'm just teasing.
What's that Hong Kong Philly? You know what I'm talking about.
You know, one thing real quick on Nixon. Everybody, you know, our view of him was, man, he was a bad guy. And they cleaned up after that. They showed America that this system works and we get rid of guys when they're criminals, and we all bought this bullshit. Well, now we're learning in the background that what's really going on, Gerald Ford's going to become president on the Warren Commission. Squeaky Fromm almost takes him out. Yeah, Squeaky Fromm almost takes him out, and who would be President? Rockefeller. Doesn't quite get there, but don't worry, he's coming around after.
That's right, sir. That was the goal when Nelson Rockefeller wanted to be president, for sure.
Squeaky Fromm and Sarah Jane Moore. You had two.
Which was Charles Manson's childhood friend from Charleston, West Virginia. That most folks they overlook that point.
And so I was going to say before I forgot my train of thought, I remembered. I was hoping JJ would clue us in on how close Nicolas Cage is to the Society of the Cincinnatus.
His connections there. I have a clip for that.
San Clemente, just him and a few agents. Yeah. And they come across this car accident, right? The guy pinned under a car. Anyway, Nixon gets out, runs over to check on the guy, you know, leans down, and Nixon says to him, "You're gonna be okay, son. You're gonna be all right." And right then, the guy dies.
I don't get it.
Think about it from that guy's point of view, okay? The guy who died. He's lying there on the ground, staring up at the sky near death. Former President Richard Nixon appears before him and tells him he's going to be fine.
What a horrible way to die. Freaking takes the beer right above you as if you're looking for some help. You're like, oh shit, this guy's not going to do anything for me. Now, I don't know about Nick Cage's connections to the Society of Cincinnati, none that I'm familiar with. However, he has his uncle, Francis Ford Coppola. He is Nicolas Cage Coppola. And Francis Ford has none other than Cocaine Bob Evans, who I saw a comment earlier in the chat saying they didn't see Cocaine Bob in the Epstein files. I say look a lot closer.
He's in there.
Was his production company was in there. So is all of his friends. Barry Diller was being notably one of them.
I wonder if Eisner's in there. Because Eisner at Paramount.
Yeah, he was one of Diller's killers, right? Because Diller had a number of guys that went on to take over the rest of a lot of these corporations.
If you ever get a chance, Disney War, about when Michael Eisner went over to Disney, and a guy named James B. Stewart. He's been in and around some of the Beltway sort of stuff, but also into like just the power, because he wrote what was it, Den of Thieves, which is about like the Michael Milken, Ivan Boesky guys of Wall Street. But he's been around. Bloodsport, which he was about Vince Foster. It was around kind of like, you know, I've never read that. I've never read Bloodsport, but
that's their name I couldn't think of. Jeffrey Katzenberg.
Well, Katzenberg was part of Spielberg, Katzenberg, Geffen. That was that whole partnership.
He was one of Diller's killers. He was one of Diller's underlings.
Yeah. Oh, Dawn Steele. Dawn Steele was a very influential producer. But yeah, Eisner, when they referenced the book Disney War about the control for Disney, where Eisner got ousted by a group led by Roy Disney, they talked about how Michael Eisner, when he was with Paramount, he was like, yeah, you're not going to hit a home run with every movie. Singles, doubles, kind of like, you know, like don't hit it out with big budget. Just hit it out with movies that might be 10 million that could get you 40 million. And then by the time he was at Disney, he was such a cocky and arrogant asshole that he almost threw out the partnership with Pixar. He wanted to pass on Lost. There was like so many things that by the time they ousted him, they're like, we got this, and this. You're done. Doesn't matter. He's like, you know what? If you want anyone to carry on your legacy, let it be your son, Breck, the one who did, what was it? The freaking, what the hell is that movie? I'm going to.
Was it Schindler's List, sir?
I wanted to bring up,
Breck Eisner did the one with Justin Long, the one that they did a couple movies too. I've never saw the movies. Horror movies.
Die Hard with a Vengeance or Die Hard 5 or whatever with Justin
Long? No, one of Justin Long's first movies. Jeepers Creepers.
Oh, Jeepers. Oh, Victor Salva.
Yeah, that was Breck Eisner. Breck Eisner.
Oh, I did not know that. That's Francis Ford Coppola's underling, Victor Salva.
Oh, well, Victor Salva, that's Clown House.
That movie
Victor
was
Salva, that's Powder.
Yeah.
Creepers was based on a real story that was on used to be on Unsolved Mysteries in the 90s about some crazy dude in Michigan.
I recall that. Yeah, I do recall that.
Well,
Just a little bit more glorified. The original incident, I think, was just a body and a carpet, but they're like, "Hey, let's make it a monster."
Well, that's why.
Wasn't the director of Jeepers Creepers in prison, or
he was? He's in Hollywood now doing more films, sir. He's part
is he
of the
back?
Bob
He's
Cocaine
back.
Evans franchise.
Whoa! Oh shit!
Well, there was something about Nixon. I want to bring up because I was kind of slow on that to bring up. So Dennis Cuddy points out that in '46, Nixon ran for Congress in a law firm. His law
Been
firm,
around a long time.
Bewley, Krupp, and Nixon received $2 million fee from Romanian Nazi Nicolae Malaxa, which helped Nixon get elected. And it says Malaxa had been a business partner of Hermann Göring, head of the Nazi Air Force, and worked for Gestapo before setting up a company in Nixon's hometown of Whittier, California.
Yep.
Well, John
Nixon was OSS Project Paperclip, so that kind of jives.
Yeah.
Right.
And there was also one of his fundraisers, and I think Mickey Cohen, because I might have went into this with another, it might have been JJ or it might have been Cult Rejects, but one of the live streams where Mickey Cohen was like, okay, we got this much. No one leaves until we get this much. Nixon didn't initially want to run. He was drafted to run. He came in that same congressional class as a certain man from Massachusetts, John Fitzgerald Kennedy. That's why, like, later on when Kennedy was running against Nixon, it's like we came up together,
Sure.
Nixon's first victory was huge. And then when you ran against a guy named, I forget if it was 46 or 48, but a guy named Jerry Voorhees, another guy who was like established. And then in 1950, when he runs for Senate against Helen Gahagan Douglas, who was Hollywood connected, her husband, Melvin Douglas, was an actor. She was an actress, and he accused her of being pinked down to her drawers. It was the communist smear.
The commie bastards. Those commie bastards.
Would go from there. And one of his campaign guys, Murray Schottner, was mob connected. I think he would die in a car accident.
Wasn't Baby Rabosa like a very mobbed up dude too?
And mob connected, and some have suggested a possible relationship.
They were very tight for decades. I mean, that makes sense, right?
What's funny about Nixon's role in the United States, when Nixon was in there at his height, he's being portrayed as this ultra right wing guy that the left has to fight against. When in actuality, he's the left wing's best friend, bringing in all the wage and price controls and opening the doors to China and shipping all the. He's like, and so they couldn't have got away with it. Otherwise, you got the Grand Dragon in here.
Spellman, he's a Jesuit.
That's the Grand Dragon. Yeah,
Spellman,
whatever you call him.
Spellman,
Nixon's godfather.
Spellman might have been a pedophile because I know his name has popped up in.
Let's look at the physiology.
He looks like a pedophile. He's rubbing his hand. Oh God! All 3 feet tall.
We might. I mean, if I can ever suggest anything, and JJ, if you do on YouTube, the HBO original movies, like your Citizen Cone, your Stalins, like they had the great movies up until about the 2000s, where you can look. I watched Gotti, the one with Armando Sante playing John Gotti.
I was going to say that's the last one I watched. I think of that series of Armando. That was
that was such a good one. Barbarians at the Gate with James Garner with the R.J.R. Nabisco takeover. They have so many good movies. I just the Pentagon Wars. I watched that a month or so ago with Kelsey Grammer and Carrie Elways. That was a good one too.
Two conservative actors in Hollywood.
Right. That's
do I see Reagan? Do I see Reagan in that one?
Yeah, Reagan on the left, and there's Nixon with his faggotry on the right. There,
well, because another HBO movie.
That's Lee Iacocca in the middle, right?
Was Without Warning, the James Brady story when Brady got shot. And
not by John Hinckley, sir. He didn't do it. He's a kind folk musician. He sells cat paintings on Twixter. This man's not a murderer.
I just have to tell you, RR Channel just told you to cut the crap. So, I just got to throw that in there.
And just because he's friends with his dad's best friends with the Bush family, there's nothing suspicious about that
We're the
whatsoever.
Muppets and Langley are defending the Vatican. And why am I not shocked? Go fuck yourself, Langley.
Like these
Can anyone get Hinckley to maybe talk? Since he's out, or
William Ramsey investigates recently. We were just talking about his folk album or his book or something, dude.
Yeah, he does records now. You probably get him on here, JJ.
No, he's banned me on Twixter. I kept retweeting his cat paintings with a thumbs up from Ronald Reagan as the tweet.
There you go. Jodie Foster and Ronald Reagan in big smiley face.
And I appreciate you folks in the interwebs joining us here tonight to get a little GCD here. I would like to bring in for some final closing thoughts, but I have a clip first I'd like to get some of your thoughts on. Kind of jumped off at the beginning there, Todd. One of the things I picked up on here, and what you call magic shit, I call quantum physics, but it's the same.
Same thing.
Here's the thing about the future. Every time you look at it, it changes because you looked at it, and that changes everything else.
He starts the movie off with that same line, right? And then he ends the movie with that same line. And to me, that explains the observer effect of quantum physics.
Yeah.
Exactly.
The magician puts themselves in a trance to take away the observation of their own self, so then they can manipulate the reality according to the books.
Magicians have tricks they can use in their subconscious, in their conscious, that limit or block parts of their conscious and allow stronger parts to come through. Anybody here's had a dream that seemed like it lasted for hours or days or years, I'm certain. That's inside you. And so magicians, they have tricks they use to put themselves in certain states of mind. And I believe shit like this can happen. They're probably running people that have these abilities. That's just my belief, but
fuck you say, Todd? Did I do magic, dude?
I don't know. I don't know. JJ's a magician. Yeah, he's hiding it. Don't.
No, I get the correlations there. I don't disagree with you. I just, my brain doesn't go to magic stuff. It goes to science stuff first.
I know.
The more I learn about magic stuff, though, from Wizardry, if you will, it seems that's all they're explaining to me is elements of quantum. That's what I appreciate about some of Peter Levenda's work. Peter Levenda kind of insinuates a lot of those same aspects of magic is really just science we're not really have a good name or understanding of.
Well, can I just say a quick thing about Levenda?
Absolutely.
So,
please do.
And as much as we can say that he's more than likely compromised, he is a good he is a good entry point for a lot of research. I would not have found Bad Company, the Steve Wick book about the Cotton Club and Karen.
Right, sir. He does put citations in there, right?
Yeah, he's a good reference point. Now, when it becomes off the edge, I said that's a different discussion. But I said he is a good jumping off point for research. And I still think of like some of his Nazi research and stuff about Freemasonry, stuff like that. But yeah, it starts. Yeah, there are points where you're like, maybe I won't take all of it there, but
right.
You know what? We all got to start somewhere, and I think of one of my good friends who's a good podcast host. Sometimes you got to kill your heroes. So, we'll take the first part, and then I'll go the rest of the way. We're good. You got me here. I'll go the rest of the way without you.
I don't disagree, sir. Otherwise, I could never go watch Tom Cruise play a tall guy who knows how to fight, and he's quite honestly my favorite actor to watch play a tall guy who knows how to fight on the big screen. So.
Oh, you mean
you gotta take it in the good, and just because he bangs dead fish on the side. I mean, whatever, dude.
Lots of dead fish on the side of Tom Cruise. Yeah,
that's why the man
dead fish in the backyard of Tom Cruise's.
Twice.
Get away from my fish! What are you doing there? What the fuck?
You got a backyard.
Oh man!
It's just like I have to do anymore of this. Oh shit!
I love you. I love your show so much, JJ. I learn so much every time. I appreciate all you guys that come on here.
I appreciate it. I appreciate all y'all joining me here and providing your input. I learn from y'all every time, especially Secret Agent of the Dewey Decimal System. Phil's always got me introduced to some new books. I've got a couple new books you've listed tonight, sir, that I appreciate. And Clint's always got some good, occultism, esoteric, and anti-commie stuff. And I can appreciate all that, sir. I salute you for your anti-commie service. And Todd, you're a fucking wizard, friend. I would call you musician or magician, but you're neither, so you're a wizard. So I salute you for your
There you
service.
go. I appreciate that. Coming from you, that means a lot, JJ. Person that doesn't believe in magic. It means a lot, sir. I know you believe. I know you
Corn
believe.
Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Well, the only difference between crack cocaine and cocaine is sodium bicarbonate and water and heat. Literally, that's it.
And those things are pretty much free if you go to like a science store.
And Corn Pop was a bad dude, and he ran a bunch of bad boys.
Support your local science store, folks.
You don't want to run into Corn Pop. I'll tell you what, man. He must have been hard.
That Muppet was just on the Sean Ryan? Is that what we call him? Commando Joe Rogan? The Sean Ryan podcast? I break them all down into Joe Rogan. You got vegan Joe Rogan, you got diet Joe Rogan, then you got Commando Joe Rogan. Then Commando Joe Rogan had Hunter Biden on.
Wow. Wonder if you asked him any tough questions like, what's hookers like over in China? Or something like that. I don't know.
Hunter, can you explain how to make crack? We got to take better notes here. You're a crack doctor.
If it was Joe Rogan, it would be, wow. Really? I mean, it would be.
It would be a very intellectual conversation.
Yeah. It would just be reaction. Wow, you did that much heroin? You did that much coke? Wow.
What's your relationship with your dad?
I had a neighbor one time that did some heroin.
When it's Joe Rogan, you're like, wow, you did more drugs than Andy Dick? Wow. That's
I watched Andy Dick dude in the Comedy Store bathroom when he hears some dumb shit like that. You know what I mean? I don't know how people listen to that stuff. I struggle just to listen to the portions I do.
When I think of, so every now and then I watch reruns of the show News Radio, and I'm like, wow, Rogan, Andy Dick, and I'm thinking, well, Phil Hartman would smoke pot, but I think of what the amount of drugs Phil Hartman's wife did, and I'm like, holy shit, there's a lot of drugs there. And not to mention Vicki Lewis, who was on the show as Beth, was with Nick Nolte. I'm like, well, the circles, of like drugs and alcohol.
Nolte's like Gary Busey. He's like diet Gary Busey.
Well,
yeah.
So they talked about when Phil Hartman would kind of talk to Vicki Lewis, because like Phil Hartman's wife, Bryn, was pills and coke and everything else, and Vicki Lewis was with Nick Nolte, and I was like, they could commiserate. And again, the star of it, Dave Foley, I love. I'm sure he was doing shit too, but he wasn't doing as much as, say, Andy Dick, who freaking almost died on an LA street not that long ago. And there's a story when Andy Dick went up to, I think it was John Lovitz, at the Comedy Store, and it's like, ooh, I'm gonna put the Phil Hartman hex on you, and John Lovett smashed his head into the bar because Andy Dick is such a reprehensible scumbag.
Wow.
I mean, Andy Dick is like the Courtney Love of the comedies. John Lovett said that he smashed Andy Dick's head into the bar.
Did that end his career? Because you don't hear much about John Lovitz no more.
I think he's semi-retired, but
he might have twisted his arm. You know, might have tweaked his arm a little bit doing it.
Well, he pops up for pro-Israel sort of thing every now and then, or when they're talking about doing a critic reboot, which again, that's Simpsons connected. But
I like the critic.
Andy
Leibowitz, is that Eastern European?
Well, Gary Busey, sir, is not of that variety of ethnicity. No. And the best TV show on Comedy Central around the critic was right after that time period. I thought was Life with Busey. They convinced some kid to sign his decisions away to Gary Busey. Imagine doing that. What an awful decision. That's after this era of Busey.
I can go to your mama's and start a small fire in her panties. Now.
First, you start one in the backyard.
Well, if you ever want to see something crazy, there's Gary Busey popping up in a documentary about Hunter Thompson, and when they're talking to him, it's like, wait, stop.
Oh, man.
And like he wants to reframe the question the only way Gary Busey can answer it. And by the way, this is pre The Apprentice, Gary Busey, which, by the way, all of it is after he had a motorcycle accident that fucked up his head.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you guys, the better Busey.
Did you guys catch the one where he had Alex Jones in his backyard and he took over the conversation for like a half hour? He wouldn't let Jones say a damn thing. He's like, now shut your mouth and listen to my crazy talk. Jones like,
wait. Do you mean Alex Jones or do you mean Bill Hicks? Because there's a huge difference. I know.
I'm not sure which one.
Not that I go with that.
Not sure which one it was.
Well,
it had to be Alex Jones because Bill Hicks is a dead name.
Just a quick thing. You can't have Alex Jones and Bill Hicks both being at Waco if they're separate people, along with Timothy McVeigh.
Yeah, I hear you. How do you square this? Quantum physics. Nicolas Cage might have been involved.
Yes.
I'm just kidding.
Nicolas Cage or Sam Beckett from Quantum Leap. That's all I'm going to say.
That's what happened.
Speaking of Quantum Leap, Sam Beckett, Dean Stockwell was allegedly at the Manson family murder house there before the police were.
Oh, Dean.
Mr. the guy with the thing in his hand, calling Ziggy.
Dean Stockwell, who was also in Blue Velvet, a David Lynch movie.
And that Quantum Leap.
I love Quantum Leap. Quantum Leap's good.
Yeah, it was pretty good.
Fan.
I love Dean Stockwell, especially in Blue Velvet.
Any other closing thoughts here, gents? Possibly a Bob Dylan song to sing us out here.
Don't go to a party with Richard Gere and Tom Cruise.
Unless it's Bring Your Own Gerbil night.
Yeah,
you don't know where his gerbils have been.
Phil, it's always good to see you, sir. Please come on JJ's show regularly. I love what your mind, sir. And no, I would just say, lay, you lay across my big breast, baby. I long to see you in the morning light. I long to reach for you all through the night. Lay. You lay across JJ's big show.
Is this Bob Dylan or is this what is this? Is this Scorpions?
I don't know. Scorpions, there you go. Time over time. To end. RR channel. Hey, tell them we said hi. Tell them to give us thumbs up over at Langley.
Those Muppets to go fuck themselves on the RR. All right, gents and folks, the interwebs, thanks again for joining us here tonight at Guild GCD. And actually, I'll see y'all next week with another fantastic / mediocre film review of a mediocre film. That is, of the film review is not mediocre, but the films we're talking about are Nicolas Cage.
Most excellent.
Take it easy.
Well, that's it. That's the show here, folks. So the next time you're out on the town, visiting your local watering holes, or perhaps just meandering around, and you hear the unmistakable sounds of metal clanking, and you spot signs of a disturbance, but check your six. Look in that garbage can, 'cause you never can tell. The GCDs may be loose in your town.